All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Market Close. It is Wednesday, July 16th. We are 4 minutes early because, folks, we kind of had to go early because I'm looking at this market right now, and there is no way I can wait to go live. Robinhood is at $104.45. I think there's a shot we see 105 today. I think there's a shot. There's about 45,000 shares. Rocket Lab, I mean, we hit 47.95. Feels like there's a shot for 48. It's about 30 cents away. Palantir is at new all-time highs, 151.30. S&P goes green after going red today from 618 to 624. We'll talk about why it went red. And then you got Nvidia right here at 171. Tesla's at 322. Google 183. SoFi 2140. AMD trying to break 160. New 52-week high. I mean, just an incredible day across the board. It's one of those days where you look at the portfolio and you're like, wow, it is happening again. I know the past couple of days have been rather flattish. We pump in the morning, then we kind of dump towards the end of the day, end up being flat for the day. But this is just incredible. This is just incredible, not to mention SBET, Ethereum Treasuries, SBET up 27% on the day, BMNR up 18%, BTBT, I believe, was up 15%, up 17%, and that is because Ethereum quietly got up to 3,400 today, 3,381 currently right now, 3,367. Just an incredible day. Just an incredible freaking day. And then you got other names like Joby that are breaking out right here. Joby 1647, that's up 18%. Again, I didn't see any headline on Joby based on anything today outside of what we saw yesterday of them doubling their manufacturing capacity, but Joby getting some love. And you got a lot of names like even a Circle. We have some new crypto legislation updates. That's up 20%. Also getting some momentum. Open Door, yes, we talked about it in the morning. Again, I don't really know the main reason for this pump outside of them potentially changing their business models to work with realtors. I'll try to go deep into it tonight and try to figure out kind of why the street's getting excited about this. But Open Door right here, 144, that's up 40%. If you have leaps on Open Door, you're probably up multiple hundreds of percent just today. I mean, it's incredible. It is absolutely incredible. Yes, I'm not going to lie, bro. There's a little bit of 2021 vibes that we're feeling. But then again, vibes are not reality. And I think we've done a pretty decent job on this show over the past couple of weeks talking about why it is not 2021. We don't have to go through all the different components of that analysis. The number one being that real earnings growth this year. We do have earnings coming up in a minute, folks. We have Discover Financial, Kinder Morgan, and United in about 15 minutes. So we will take a look at those earnings. And if those earnings continue to be as good as some of the earnings we got from the financials over the past couple of days, then again, 2021 was all hype, low rates, lots of inflation. This time you had inflation come down this morning with PPI. You've got real earnings growth, and you have rate cuts that are hopefully on the way. I mean, we are doing this in an environment where rates are at 4.5%, which is another thing that makes this even more incredible right here. As you can see, PPI, let me just pull this up real quick. PPI came in this morning 2.3% versus 2.6 expected, core 2.6 versus 2.8. So you've got a lot of other components kind of pushing back to that 2021 vibe, even though I know it feels very frothy. But the frothiness, I do think, has some level of support in certain sectors where the earnings growth is there. So that's what we got. Okay, one move that I made today, and then we'll get into all the headlines we got going on. First of all, congrats, everybody. I know some people are probably hitting all-time highs across the portfolio. I mean, it's one of those days where you're just happy to be an investor. It's one of those days where you're happy to be an investor. I bought another 100 shares of HUD. 103.40. Bought another 100 shares of HUD. Now, there's actually logic behind why I did this. It wasn't just buying it to buy it for the hell of it. I know when I bought it at 100, it was just buying it for the culture. This time, there was some logic. So I sold Webull. Sold Webull at 12.54. Got tired of it. Didn't really want it. I've been running covered calls against it over the past couple of weeks. Realized that this is just not something I want to hold in the portfolio anyway. Got $12,500 from selling it. After the covered call premiums, my net loss from my average at 1450 versus minus 1254 minus the premiums was $17, was $1,700, $1,750. So I sold a March 2026 120 call on Robinhood on those 100 shares, a covered call. You have to have 100 shares to cover the call. And I picked up $17.50 times 100 shares, aka $1,750 in premium. So it's kind of a net break even. And I kind of think it makes sense. I'd rather hold HUD. The risk here is that HUD tanks, and then I'm bag holding from that 103 level that I bought it at, which is okay because my average is much lower than 103, and I'd be happier to hold HUD than Webull, quite frankly. I mean, just like, I just don't want to hold Webull. And if my shares get called away at 120, that's okay. If at 120, I have to sell these shares that I bought at 103 after getting 1750 in premium, that would be a net exit of 137.5, which I would be okay with. I would be okay with. So that's what I got. Do you think Hood will be below 120? No, I don't think it will be below 120, but if it's around that 120 range by March, I can always roll the call as well. I don't have to like keep the call. I don't have to let those shares get called away, especially if it's at like 125, 130. I can manage that position. If it's way above 120, like 150, then I'll let the shares go. That's fine. Because at the end of the day, the whole goal of selling those calls selling the call on those shares was to be able to collect the premium and break even. So that's what I did today. But outside of that, I mean, nothing else. Palantir 151, just incredible. Tesla 322, Nvidia 171, Rocket Lab again having an incredible day, 47.87. Let me know in the chat if anyone took profits, anyone bought anything, anyone sold any calls, sold any puts. Today is probably not the best day to sell puts, but it's a juicy day to sell calls. The question is, are you selling calls in something in front of something that's going to go parabolic? Or are you selling it as a way to hedge? So very curious to see what people did. Grab right here, 513. That's up about 1.7%. Amazon 223. And then Reddit getting a little bit of a recovery. Let's do a recap on what happened today with Trump and the Fed, because that was a roller coaster. And then we'll keep going from there.
Absolutely, Sarah. It was a jam-packed few hours here. Some market whipsawing after the president sought to make it clear he's not currently planning to fire the Fed chair. Take a listen to how he put it in the Oval Office earlier today.
Completely ruling out the idea of firing Jerome Powell.
I don't rule out anything, but I think it's highly unlikely unless he has to leave for fraud. I mean, it's possible there's fraud involved with the $2.5, $2.7 billion renovation.
So he's not completely ruling it out, and he's raising the possibility there of fraud being a probable cause for the firing. But those comments coming just shortly after a senior White House official told me that the president had indicated he was likely to fire Powell and potentially sometime soon. The official told me he had suggested he likely would after discussing the idea yesterday with Republican lawmakers. So we'll see where things go from here, Sarah. But the biggest questions at this point, of course, are whether Trump will do this, but secondly, whether he legally can. And remember, Powell has been consistent this year that he plans to finish out his term and that he thinks his firing, in his words, is not permitted under the law. So a question now for senators as well as for the judicial system. Sarah?
I think there are a lot of questions for senators, including the fact that this has been going on for 7 years now.
So today was a wild day, dude. Today was an absolutely wild day. And the reason it was a wild day is because in the morning there we had a pump, and then reports came out saying that Trump was going to fire J-Powell. We then tank to 618, quote unquote tank. We had a generational dip buying opportunity on Nvidia at 169.7. And then Trump gets on TV and he says, well, I talked to some Republican lawmakers about firing him. I really don't like what Powell's doing with the renovations inside of the Fed offices, but it is highly unlikely, that was his exact words, highly unlikely that I would fire him. And then we pump. I mean, talk about resiliency. Nothing so far is taking down this market. Not the August 1st deadline, not Moody's, not tariffs, not bond yields, which, by the way, the 10-year and the 30-year, they were spiking in the morning. Folks, they are coming down towards the end of the day. 4.45 is still pretty high, but it's not 4.9 anymore. And the 30-year was at 5.017, slightly down. It's almost like the bond market's also calling BS on this idea of firing J-Powell, because I do think if he legit fired J-Powell, that would put the bond market in a frenzy. And we probably would dump a little bit in the stock market, but eventually people would move on after just kind of like not caring about it. But we didn't have that happen because Trump said, yeah, I'm probably not going to fire him. And it's almost like they created this artificial pressure to get J-Powell to like, quote unquote, resign or like feel the pressure of making sure he cuts rates in September, because we know he's probably not going to do it in July. But it wasn't some like, yes, I'm definitely firing him. I have my lawyers working on it and we're going to get to it as soon as possible. He denied everything, even if he wants to fire him. And that's why the market pumped. And that is why the market pumped, which is absolutely incredible. Where is Rocket Lab right here? Rocket Lab 47.92. Oh, we hit 48 on Rocket Lab. There you go. You hit 48 on Rocket Lab. It was probably just a couple seconds ago. 48. I think she's about to get back there. She's about to get back there. 48 on Rocket Lab. All right, folks. We will ring the bell. Last time we rang the bell on Rocket Lab was at 45. We're at 48. There she is again. Congratulations, 48 on Rocket Lab. What an incredible story. I have no idea how I am up 108% on Rocket Lab in freaking 2 months. I'm not complaining about it. I do think the stock's a bit expensive here, but Street doesn't care. Street doesn't care. 48 right here on Rock Lab. Robinhood 103.33. We will get, I think, in the next 9 minutes, the first $100 close ever. We have still not closed above $100, folks. It hasn't happened in the past 2 weeks. So today, if we don't tank $3.40, we should be getting our first $100 close. We did get to 104.62, maybe 105 in the next couple minutes, but hopefully at least we stay above 100. Pounds right here, 151, absolutely incredible. S&P 624. AMD touched 160 as well. That's incredible. We had 160 on AMD, just broke through everything today, leading the way. Nvidia right here, 171, but AMD leading. Google right here, 182. ASML has not really recovered that much. I mean, it was down 11%. Now it's down 8%. So that's a little bit better, but that guidance just wasn't the best today. And that's why I took a hit. And then Micron, since Monday, has been having a little pain. Micron right there, down another 3% on the day. Comedy, thank you for the 10 euros. Appreciate the super chat. It reached the $100,000 today. Thank you for everything. Much love from Austria. I love it. Congratulations to you, Comedy. Thank you for being here. I relate to your name so much because your boy's funny. You know what I'm talking about. But what's not funny is that you reached $100,000 today. That is a very serious, serious thing. And the fact that you got there is absolutely incredible. And hopefully you reached it while you were laughing part of the streams every single day. So thank you so much for being here. Much love from Austria. And 100K. A lot of you guys have been commenting these portfolio milestones, whether it's 20K, 100K, some of you out there at 500K, a million. I mean, it is just freaking incredible. And it is the power of these markets. It is the power of these markets. Someone says, you're funny looking. Okay, that's fine. Anyway, Palantir, 151.28. 151.28. What is Amazon doing? Amazon was up a little bit in the pre-markets, then it pumped a little bit, then it came down. Now it's kind of flat on the day, 223.132. I would not be surprised if Bezos offloading right here. He sold 1.5 billion yesterday. He only has about 43% left to sell for his 5 billion of filings in stock. So maybe he's selling a little bit here towards the end of the day, and that's why we're getting a bit of a decline, but we'll see if we get some of these SEC files. BMNR, that's at 46, relatively flat from yesterday. It was up 15% after Peter Thiel bought after hours yesterday. Hasn't really changed that much today. It got to 51, right back down to 46. SBET has really been the story of the day. This one, 30% up is incredible. 30% up in a day is incredible. Dude, some people on SBET, I got a screenshot today of someone who was up 2.5, or someone's portfolio that's worth 2.5 million. 600,000 of that was because of SBET. I mean, it's just like, it is insanity, but it makes sense, right? Like if you believe in Ethereum and you got super leveraged against it when no one believed in it back when it was $9-10. Chris literally came on the channel a month ago and said we should look at SBET at $9. Both of us did not really take it seriously. And here it is, $37. Absolutely incredible on the day for SBET. Yeah, a lot of you guys, incredible. Raj with 2 million, Chicago at 250K. What's up at 6.8 million? Brandon at 30,000. Wealthy, 6-figure day off SBET. I've been seeing a lot of those all on X. We've been seeing a lot of people just get tons and tons of momentum on it. Chaotic, $200,000 today. Tariq's 100K, 1/3 to a million. Incredible. I mean, it's a big day. It's a big, big, big day for a lot of people. Where is Ethereum right here? Ethereum, as we get into the market close, we got about 6 minutes left, also has been moving. We got a bunch of different headlines that we'll talk about after the bell. Again, Ethereum is at 33.72. Grab right here at 512. And then you have Bitcoin right here at 119. Ironically, it's almost like as these bond yields came down, Meta back over 700, people kind of are piling into Bitcoin. If they, if J Powell gets fired, you pile into Bitcoin because rate cuts and liquidity. If J Powell doesn't get fired, okay, pile into Bitcoin because yields are spiking regardless. So one of the inevitable arguments that a lot of people are coming to is Bitcoin. Michael Saylor did a new podcast this morning as well, and he spoke a little bit more about Bitcoin Treasury. Let's play a minute of this. Look, I listened to, I think, about 20 minutes of this podcast. I mean, at the end of the day, you can't say what he's saying doesn't make sense in the context of using the asset of Bitcoin that is highly liquid to capitalize a public company over treasuries.
For the first time in 100 years, there's a capital asset other than treasury bills that you can use to capitalize a publicly traded company on. That's liquid. Bitcoin is a digital commodity, a digital scarcity, and theoretically, if you think through the implications of having a digital commodity that you capitalize a public company on, If it outperforms the S&P and is more volatile than the S&P, then you will have positively polarized the balance sheet of the company to capital, which means in theory you can raise infinite money, and the more money you raise, the wealthier everybody gets, and the faster the stock price goes up, and the more money you can raise.
We'll get back to this later after the bell, but what he's saying right there is if you have a really juicy options market because investors believe in the asset class of, in this case, the underlying Bitcoin over traditional treasuries, you have more volatility, more liquidity, more volumes, and that's exactly what you need to have a market that ultimately is able to take advantage of capital allocation through an asset that's not stuck giving you barely 4% like a bond yield. So from that perspective, I mean, look, Saylor's had this thesis for a long time. It has worked out. It has worked out in a phenomenal way. MicroStrategy right here, 455. Now it's working out. It's working out because Bitcoin's going up. If Bitcoin were to tank, then it wouldn't be working out. But we've explored a lot of different reasons why the institutionalization of Bitcoin is not saying it's going to prevent it from tanking. It's just one of those things where it becomes harder than in traditional cycles in the past, 2022 and 2018, to maybe have those 70 to 80% drawdowns as well. Here's another update right here. We got 3 minutes until the market close, and Anthropic is floating a $100 billion valuation. $100 billion valuation. Why does this matter? That's because Anthropic was last valued at 60 billion, folks. Almost doubling on its new valuation. OpenAI is at 300 billion. XAI is trying to raise at 200 billion. Anthropic right here. This is the maker of Claude, which is the large language model, particularly that's amazing for coding. Investors are getting ready to invest in at 100 billion. Amazon, I believe, is getting ready to put in another couple $2 billion to value this company at 100 billion. So, I mean, again, it's just like, it's hard to sell off Nvidia when you've got the software foundation model companies raising at these levels. And we're going to look at a couple of other startups that I saw today that raised at some pretty aggressive multiples. And the reason they're raising is because they have the growth. And the reason capital allocators like venture capitalists are giving them the money is because they want growth. And these AI companies are growing. Speaking of growth, I found another reason why Rocket Lab might be mooning today. Bank of America joins the party. I didn't see this all morning. I don't think anyone pointed it out to me in the chat. Maybe they did and I missed it. But Rocket Lab raised to 50 from 30 at Bank of America. Citigroup raised them to 50 2 days ago. That's when we got that 15% move, and we're getting a 9% move today, primarily because of this upgrade, which is pretty incredible for Rocket Lab. AMD 160. There she goes. AMD 160. Looks like she's going to close at 160 today. We got about 2 minutes left until this market closes. What a day. What a freaking day. Jason, thanks for the $5 super chat. This year has changed my life from 30K to just crossing 250,000 this year at 24 years old. It has been great having this community to enjoy being around. Absolutely incredible. Congratulations. Someone in the morning said they hit 250K as a 25-year-old, which, you know, it's most 25-year-olds do not have $250,000, much less 24-year-olds. So from 30 to 250, absolutely incredible. Jason, let us know what stocks kind of got you there. I would love to know what stocks in the chat got you to those levels, but it's been a hell of a day, dude. It's been a hell of a day. Incredible. I know it feels a little like, all right, is it getting too aggressive? I'm feeling that too. I am feeling that too. I'm enjoying it. I'm feeling it too. And I think all of us would understand if there's a little bit of a pullback here. No one would be super, fearful of it. But nonetheless, this is the beauty of investing. You get a chance to take a risk. You let these companies compound your capital if they can execute. And if they do in an effective way, then you could have some life-changing returns. Here we go, folks. Wednesday, July 16th, 4 p.m. The stock market is now closed. We are closed for the day. AMD closes at 160. Advanced money duplicator 160. This is just a story of conviction. And if you held with the conviction on AMD, you believe in the thesis, you are being rewarded. 160 on AMD. Palantir gets its first $150 close, folks. We were 10 cents away from a 151 close. Robinhood gets its first $100 close. 103.27, almost got to 105 at 104.62, but it looks like she wants to go higher. 103.30 on Robinhood. SoFi 2140. I think that's one of the best closes we've had in the past couple of weeks. SoFi 2140, which is incredible. S&P 500 ends up going green for the day after going red. Down 0.5%, ends up green plus 0.3%. Grab ends at 514. This is actually really nice for Grab, dude. In the midst of all the JPOW volatility, Grab didn't even go below $5, which I was shocked by. I mean, usually whenever there's anything in the S&P, Grab just tanks with it because like algorithmically, it just tends to get sold off. It doesn't really have a base of its own. It stayed at 505, and now we closed over 510 for the first time in 2 weeks. So I hope Grab is getting coiled up. It really feels like that. We're going to need a strong earnings, but Grab right there at 514. Reddit 144, Amazon 223, Meta 702, PayPal was flat on the day. Salesforce was also flat on the day. Elf up about 1.45%. Where were the Ethereum treasuries on the day? SBET 29%. BMNR that was up 12%. That one actually got a little bit down towards the end of the day. And then BT ended up 19% on the day. All right, we've got earnings. United Airlines. Do we have something? United Airlines, I think we are red. Let me pull over to Webull. We'll get the exact after hours on some of these stocks. Are we red on United earnings, on United Airlines? Let's see. We have that in Discover. UAL is red by 2%. Not crazy. By the way, it was up 10% last week after Delta. So it could be just giving back some of the gains that it got from Delta. There was no reason for it to pump on Delta outside of it being in the same sector. So that could be one of the reasons. Let me see if I can get these numbers. And then we'll get into Discover Financial and Kinder Morgan, which is a pipeline company. And we'll keep going from there. Ethereum 3,400. Yup, is it at 34? It's very close to 34. 33.91. Did not touch 34 today, but very close to getting there. Now, United's really important, folks. We need to know the consumer is traveling. We need to know the consumer can, United goes green. United goes green. We need to know the consumer can afford to buy plane tickets. We need to know the consumer is going on vacations. We need to know business travel is coming back. This is a very important earnings for the overall health of the economy. And it would be relevant to see how they report some of these numbers. Okay, we have a beat by 2% on EPS, a miss on revenue. A beat by 2%, miss on revenue. Miss is 1%, 15.2 versus 15.3, kind of a nothing burger. EPS 387 versus 381. That's a beat by 2%. EPS also not that big of a beat, but still there is a beat. EPS is down 7% year over year. Revenue is up 2% year over year. EPS is up 325% quarter over quarter. That's a big one. Revenue's up 15% quarter over quarter. United basically flat. Now it's going red. It was green and now it's down. It was green. Now it's down. Let me look at some of the other airlines. Southwest, that one is flat. Delta today, that one was basically flat. And then JetBlue, heavily shorted. That one was actually up 4% on the day. What's the other one? American Airlines. That one was up about 1% on the day. All right, so United, kind of a nothing burger. I will try to get their actual earnings in a little bit when we see their numbers outside of the top line and bottom line. And then we'll try to get a better understanding of what's going on. Yeah, I don't have guidance yet. But we should be able to get that soon. Robinhood right here after hours, 103.10. Bitmine up a little bit. Ethereum trying to break 3,400. Basically $10 away. ASTS, great day, up 3%. Rocket Lab, did we get a close at 47? We got a 47.69 close on Rocket Lab. Again, Bank of America upgraded them. Misty, to all my Misty folks, that's up 2%. Not too bad. And then MicroStrategy as well had a great day, 455.9. That is also up about 3%. On the day. Why is everything so crazy right now? It feels like everything is crazy. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It really does. But again, if there's real earnings growth, then the craziness is more so a culmination, I think, this is my opinion, of fund managers having to chase because they missed. They missed March and April. And if you miss March and April and you have hundreds of billions of dollars on the sidelines, not in money market funds, but in private asset management, you have to deploy that capital. You just have to. You can't have an excuse about it, especially if the earnings are good. I mean, your client's going to be like, what the hell are you doing not buying Nvidia at 170 when they're growing 70%? Like, I know you messed up not buying it at 150, but don't stay on the sidelines if it's going to 200. And that can either be extreme greed or that can be a melt up of epic proportions for those that did buy Nvidia at a much lower level. Speaking of fear and greed, let's take a look at that right now. I would imagine it's in the 80s. Dude, we're not even at extreme greed. It doesn't feel like that, but we're not. 74. It's only greed, 74. Maybe it's because we dipped, quote unquote, dipped in the middle of the day, and that kind of took us down. But I don't know if it definitely feels like extreme greed, but if it's not, that means we got some more ways to go, which is pretty incredible. Yeah, it's one of the most hated melt-ups. I agree. That's exactly, this is basically what Tom Lee's saying. It is one of the most hated V-shapes and hated melt-ups, particularly because a lot of the people that should be benefiting from it, aka big money, people that manage money for a living, they are not getting the benefit of this. United now down 2.27% after hours. Is Discover out? DFS, Discover Financial. We don't have their earnings yet. Kinder Morgan, ticker symbol KMI. That one also, that one doesn't tend to move that much on earnings, but that one's flat. United right here is down 2.2. I'm going to see if I can get some bigger updates on United so we can see what's going on there. And then we'll keep going from there. Joby also great. Does anyone know what happened with Joby? Or was it just what had happened yesterday, that press release on the manufacturing? Because I don't understand why Joby exploded. No coverage on United yet. I'll try to go to their website and see if we can get some more numbers. Up, do we have 3,400 on ETH? Did we do it? That's also one of the reasons why Robin is running today. A lot of people trade ETH on Hoodie. There she goes, 3,400. 3,400. Shout out to Mr. Tom Lee. He has brought Ethereum back from the dead. Yes, I hold Misty. He has brought Ethereum back from the dead. I don't have access to Robinhood Digest yet. My dad does, though. I was on my dad's account yesterday. He does have it. I don't have the little AI digests on my account yet. But to see, this would be a perfect use case for that feature. I could go to my app and just see like why Joby is pumping. 3,400 right here on Ethereum. Who's in ETH? Put in the chat. Let me do a poll. Who's in ETH? And put your average if you want to when you got into ETH. I know Roy tweeted a picture today. He bought $1,000 worth of ETH at 2,500 last week. So put in the chat, are you in ETH? And when I mean, are you in ETH? Are you, is it like at least $1,000 position for you? Is it at least $1,000 position in ETH? Jace, thanks for the $10 super chat. SMR and RGTI are pumping. Okay, so Rigetti, we looked at in the morning. They had a press release around some new quantum computer invention that is really bullish for the quantum sector, up 30% on the day. I think it was up 25% in the morning. So it gained another 5%, up another 1.2% after hour. And then SMR, nuclear company, that was up 7.3. Was Oklo following SMR? Oklo did follow SMR, up 6%. What about Nano Nuclear? Did that follow SMR? That did as well. So the nuclear names got some love. Nuclear names today got some love. 52% of you say no. So a little bit more than half you guys are not in ETH. Skrelly did say he was shorting Rigetti today in the morning. I think Rigetti's up more from where he began shorting. So I don't know, dude. Like, I just don't know if it's the best idea to be short some of these quantum names. Not only because of the hype, but also because you have a passionate audience that fundamentally thinks quantum is the future. And even if Skrelly is right that it's going to take way too long for it to play out, people could hold these names for a long time, and that could stop them from collapsing. So Rigetti right here, 1650. That is green. Joby's up because of Dubai air taxi news. Was there anything specific about Dubai? I mean, I thought we got those headlines last week about Dubai as well. I don't think that was anything today. 17%. My goodness. Today kind of felt like momentum, not headlines. Correct me if I'm wrong, but today felt a little bit more like people piling into Joby versus a brand new press release on Joby. Yeah, that was 2 weeks ago, right? Yeah, that wasn't today. So Joby right here, 17% right now. Where is United? United's down 2.3. All right, let me see if I can get some actual United coverage and see what we got going on there. Let's try to get to their website and see what we got. Dude, this is pretty incredible, man. This is pretty freaking incredible. United, do we have their earnings? Presentations. Nope, nothing today. Last one was April 15th. Okay, so we're still waiting. Has not uploaded, so I can't see the deck yet. Hopefully should be out in like 10 minutes. And then we see what happened with United. We are entering a speculative phase where money doesn't care about current earnings. I definitely think there's speculation. I don't know if that means the market doesn't care about earnings, because I think a lot of the reason we're getting some of this premium in the market is because of earnings. And so the question is just, can we maintain some of that earnings in order to keep that momentum? United right there is down about 2.3%. Oh, we got some HIMS news. HIMS hires a vice president of AI. Where was HIMS today? HIMS was up about 2.7% today. HIMS hires a vice president of AI. Okay. Who is this guy? I guess that's the question. HIMS hires Shankar Sadisivam. He was previously at Qualcomm. Shout out to HIMS House, dude. That community, just such a great community. As soon as I typed it in on Twitter, I found it. Shout out to HIMS House, building a great community. CTO, he's ex-Cruise. He spent 5 years at Cruise as the head of AV behaviors and planning, previously at Qualcomm, PhD in electrical engineering from University of Illinois. All right, guy looks legit. Looks legit. He's gonna bring up some AI momentum, I guess, into HIMS right here. The fact that they're even allocating a position towards the VP of AI probably means they're trying to take the technology stack more seriously when it comes to their overall market opportunity in using tech to make recommendations, personalization, using all the data they have for personalized drug plans. And so that could be one of the reasons. I mean, quite frankly, you hire a VP of AI and you show off some AI features, maybe you get a little bit of an AI multiple. Maybe. It was funny. Larry Fink yesterday was trying to say, well, we're going to be, BlackRock's going to be pivotal in the funding of AI and data centers. It almost sounded like he was trying to get an asset management firm to get an AI multiple because he kept saying AI. But that is what the street is giving the multiple to. JetBlue right here, down about 0.5%. Delta down about 1%. United down 3%. All right, I'm curious about United's guidance going down 3%. Again, United might be just giving back some of the gains they got last week from Delta going up. But I'm very curious to see if the guidance was decent on United for that one to be down 3%. Open Door, yes, this one had a big day. I mean, if you're in it, momentum is hot, up 40%. Volume was 270 million shares traded today. Obviously, a lot of people are getting excited about this one. Could it go to 250? Sure. Could it tank back down to $1? Sure. I mean, this one is, you got to really be ready for the timing on this, unless there is a fundamental thesis. I haven't done a lot of research into it. Maybe there is. But Open Door right here, up 43% of the day, up almost another 1% after hours. That one is also creating some momentum. Why is Tesla having a live call? What do you mean Tesla's having a live call? Tesla right here, 321. Could Tesla be having a live call? Let me see. Is Tesla live? I don't see it on Twitter. I'll check YouTube. I don't think Tesla's live. No, I don't see Tesla being live right now. I don't see Tesla being live. Yeah, Tesla's not live. I don't know where you saw that, but Tesla's not live. Dude, imagine Tesla went live and was like, hey, we're expanding to New York City with Robotaxi. I mean, that would be crazy, bro. Could you imagine, dude? Dude, if you think it's live and you click on this is not actually live. These are these fake YouTube channels. YouTube's got to do something about it. These are these fake YouTube channels that'll be live, put Elon in the thumbnail, and then play a clip from like years ago where they say Tesla's live. Yeah, so that is not live. I've fallen for those too, so don't feel bad. But that is not. YouTube's really got to do something about that, bro. YouTube's really got to like crack down on people that are just blatantly lying about that type of shit. Where was Pew 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 today? Pew Pew Pew, that stock down 25% on the day. It was at $25 in the pre-market. Fell 25%. This was Grab-A-Gun. This was the SPAC launched by President Trump's son. This stock right here was down 25%. Neil did a video about Open Door. Oh, boy. Couch Investor did a video about Open Door. Okay, we might have to watch that, bro. I like Couch Investor. He's my friend. I trust his opinion. I love his videos. I'm curious what he sees in Open Door. Dude, is Neil the reason why this thing pumped today? How many views did that video? Did he get like 50,000 views? Did he pump this stock? Goodness, dude. Goodness. Lords, thank you for the $50 just because. Appreciate you, Lords. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of the channel. And thank you for the super chat. Deeply, deeply appreciate it. $50 is a lot of money. Thank you for being here. And thank you for being part of the channel. Pew right here, 1307. That is, again, down 25%. Tesla is flat. Tesla, also great day, dude. Up 3.5. 321 on Tessie. No firing of J. Powell was bullish for the broader market, and Tesla got some of that momentum. Open Door right here, 150. Oklo down a little bit after hours. Kinder Morgan, a little bit of a move, up about 0.5%. And Discover, I'll see if those earnings are out. That one is still flat after hours. And United still doesn't have their deck. Oh, we got Kinder Morgan. Okay, so Kinder Morgan, 28 cents versus 28 cents on EPS. That's in line. Revenue, they beat by 6%, 4.04 billion versus 3.83. Kinder Morgan slightly up after hours by about 0.5%. All right, there you go. You cannot sell covered calls after hours. You can't really trade options after hours. So you got to usually do it by the end of the day. On the days they're expiring, you have till like 3:30. It's specific to a broker, but Robinhood, I believe, is till 3:30, 3:30 p.m. Eastern. And so, yeah, you cannot do them after hours. Again, this price target right here from Rocket Lab. So the reason Bank of America said 50 is Rocket Lab's development of Neutron and end-to-end capabilities satellite development positioned the company to drive expanded offerings, the analyst tells investors in a research note. Remember, Rocket Lab is trading at almost 47 times sales right now, not earnings, sales. They are still not profitable. So when you talk about an expensive company, yeah, literally 47 times sales. This is an expensive company, but it just seems like the street does not care, as they think there is a lot of momentum for future opportunities. And if Neutron is anywhere near close to happening by the end of 2025, I think that is also going to be something pretty productive for Rocket Lab. Was there any Palantir news today? I didn't see it. Palantir kind of made its move randomly in the middle of the day, spiked up to 151. I didn't see any piece of news. We do have earnings on August 4th, but outside of that, I mean, there was nothing specific I saw on Palantir. I think the general sort of algorithms came into place on buying growth names going into the end of the day. And at around 3 p.m.ish, that's when we started seeing a lot of momentum. Now, in terms of the most traded options today, let's take a look at this. The 20 most traded stocks in the options market were Nvidia, 1.8 million options traded. Tesla, 1.7, 100,000 underneath Nvidia. Apple is top 3, 750. Rigetti gets into the top 4, 750, 749. Then you had AMD at 652, Robinhood at 621, Opendoor 594, IBIT 467, Palantir 461, Amazon Circle, Meta, ETHA, Bank of America. They had earnings today. Strategy, SoFi, Google, SharpLink, 283,000 contracts, Coinbase, which hit 400 today, and then Marathon, Bitcoin miner, 249,000. I don't know what ETHA is. What is that? Oh, that's the Ethereum ETF. Oh, that's BlackRock's Ethereum ETF. Okay, wow, that was up 11% today. Okay, that makes sense because of Ethereum. So these were the top 20 traded names. Some newcomers: Rigetti, top 3, top 4. That's incredible. Apple, even though that's been flat, ends up into the top and then into the top 3. Robinhood's up there. Palantir's up there. Opendoor is up there after basically being dormant for the past couple of months. Amazon Circle's up there. Meta's up there. Ethereum, Bank of America, Google, SoFi, SBET, another Ethereum treasury. Once BM&R gets options, that one's going to be, I would think, at least in the top 20, if not top 30 every day, if it has the volatility that MicroStrategy has. And then you have Coinbase and Marathon Digital. So pretty incredible day. The crypto bill did not officially get passed, but one of the procedural votes to get it into Congress did pass today. And that is why I think Circle had its run, along with Bitcoin and some of these other Bitcoin proxies. Bitcoin right here, 119.3. And that is why we saw some of that momentum. All right, United. Here is the United update. Let me put it up right here, and we'll see what we got for United earnings. Here we go.
Seat mile down 4% compared to the same quarter of 2024. Cost per seat mile up 2.2% compared to Q2 of last year. Pre-tax margin of 11%. Last year it was 11.6%. Put a pin in pre-tax margin. We're going to talk more about that in just a little bit. There has key free cash flow of $1.13 billion, shy of where they were last year. Premium revenue up 5.6%, no surprise. The passenger who can pay more, wants to pay more, is willing to pay more. But domestic revenue, when you factor in all passengers, that's down 0.7% in the second quarter.
That's a nothing burger. That's a nothing burger. I think the street's taking it down more so because it pumped a lot last week. But 0.7% down year over year, not that big of a deal.
Mentioned that we wanted to talk about margin. Well, there was an impact because of all of the issues at Newark Airport, where United had to draw down its schedule, had a slew of cancellations and delays, was basically a mess for most of the second quarter. That impacted the Q2 margins. They were lower by 1.2%.
Okay, so that's not United's fault. That's Newark Airport's fault. I've been to Newark Airport, I think, like 500 times. I thankfully wasn't there during those like 5 weeks when it was a mess. But that's not United's fault. United is a major Newark International Airport hub. So if that's the reason the street's taking it down because of a margin decline because of the Newark incident, not that bearish either on the stock.
Because of the flight cuts at Newark, and that also impacts what the company is expecting in the third quarter and the rest of this year. There will be an impact in the third quarter in terms of margins because of Newark. Their EPS guidance right now, 225 to 275 a share. The street's at 260. And then there is the guidance. Remember, after Q1, United said, we're going to give two guidance estimates here. We're going to say if there's a recessionary environment, $7 to $9 for the full year. If it's a stable environment, that's the words that United used back in April. If it's a stable environment, they expected to earn $11.50 to $13.50. Now they are saying for the full year, they expect to earn $9 to $11. The street's at $10.04. Clearly, Newark is having an impact here. One of many questions we will have tomorrow morning on Squawk Box for United CEO Scott Kirby, first on CNBC. You don't.
That's not too bad, bro. They guided 7 in a recession, 12 if there's no recession, if there's no like volatility on the tariffs. They're saying 9 to 11. Street has them at 10. They're probably going to put up 11, if not 10. And so that's not bad earnings at all. That's definitely not bad guidance. Now, in the short term, because you have that range, it theoretically could miss the expectations, which is why the street might be tanking it. The margins as well that he mentioned could be a reason why it's down. But that is not some, oh my goodness, people aren't traveling, people aren't getting on flights, people are just like not buying airplanes to go from a business perspective, traveling around for business meetings. Like that seems to be idiosyncratic things that were specific to United and Newark Airport. And the fact that they're not giving two types of guidances anymore. One is with a recession, one is without a recession. Now they're just saying, hey, we think it's going to be 9 to 11. Street's at 10. Hopefully they guide upwards of 10 by the end of the year. That's okay. That is okay. That's really not bad earnings. And that's why the stock recovering a little bit. It was down almost 4%. Now it's down 1.5. United, how much is that up year to date? I don't think it's up a ton, but maybe I'm wrong. United, yeah, it's down 7. But remember, last year it was up 90%. So this is what, airlines usually don't go up 90 freaking percent. So this one's been a bit of a laggard this year, but if you've held it since 2024, you've done very well. Not too bad. Not too bad for United. Oh, you guys are being way too generous with the super chats, man. Paul, thank you for the $100. Thank you, Amit. Kobe Jordan, thank you for the $100. Andrew Wigley, thank you for the $20. I deeply, deeply appreciate it. You guys do not need to send super chats at all. I just appreciate you guys being here every day. I really, really, really just appreciate you guys being here every single day. So thank you for being here. I don't know if you guys saw some controversy with one of these TikTok content creators. I can get into the full story later, but the big controversy was the guy was on a live stream on TikTok and people were asking him questions. And he was like, I won't answer questions until you guys give me a galaxy. And a galaxy on TikTok is like a $20 super chat, basically on YouTube. And dude, I got to show you guys the video, but it was hilarious. He was like, guys, I can't answer these questions until I get a $20 super chat. And it's just like, everyone was flaming him because it's like, dude, like that's not how you don't do content to like beg for a super chat to answer a question. Like you do content to communicate with your audience and build a community. And if they want to send money as a form of appreciation, that's what the super chat is for. So I'll show you guys the video later, but it was hilarious. But as someone who is a live streamer and I was seeing this guy on TikTok, who has 1 million followers, by the way, but he built 1 million followers through Instagram Reels and TikToks, not actually live streaming. The first time he went live, it was like his audience didn't even know who he is. It was like, dude, we can't ask you any questions about your life if we don't send you $20. It was ridiculous. Yeah, Hub's Life. Hub's Life is the name. So we'll go into it later, but I just thought it was hilarious. So thank you, Paul, Kobe, Jordan, and Andrew for the super chats. Kobe Jordan, by the way, you're reminding me of the NBA. Bleacher Report came out with their top 100 NBA players of all time. And Michael Jordan was 1, LeBron was 2. But the only reason LeBron was 2 is because there was 1 vote separating LeBron and MJ, which I thought was insane. I thought it was insane that 1 freaking vote could have been the difference on Michael Jordan being number 2 all time versus LeBron James. I'm a LeBron fan, but I'm sorry. Michael Jordan is the GOAT. Michael Jordan is the GOAT. So the fact that they were that close to giving LeBron the top player of all time list, I mean, and Kobe was number 11. They had Kobe at number 11. So thank you guys for the super chats. I appreciate it. Thank you for the super chats. Jamie, thank you for the $20. You're the GOAT. Appreciate you, Jamie. Again, means a lot. Joe Smith, thank you for the $10. And Rushab, thank you for becoming a channel member. Again, you guys don't have to send the money, but it really means a lot. I'm very, very blessed and grateful to be able to do this every single day. Matt Money's in the chat. Mr. Matt Money. I don't know how many shares of Rocket Lab he has, but I know it's more than me. And, well, I think today is a good day for him. How much is Rocket Lab up this week? Rocket Lab this week. Dude, it's up 21% this week. My goodness. What a name. What a name, dude. Rocket Lab, $21. For the OGs that were part of the channel, some of you guys probably remember this. I think June, if she's in the chat, she remembers this. I bought 100 shares of Rocket Lab at $4.25 as a joke, like a year ago, probably in January 2024. And I was like, guys, I'm bored. What can we do? And everyone was like, buy Rocket Lab. It's only $4. I was like, all right, I'm buying it was 100 shares? Yeah, it was 25 shares. It was $100 worth of, it was 25. Dude, those 25 shares today, if I held them, 25 times 47, freaking would be $1,000 off of $100 investment. It would be a nice little 10x. So it's absolutely hilarious. But I mean, the people that believe in this name, partly because of Mr. Matt Money spreading the thesis, have benefited. Tesla right here, 321, Robinhood 103, Palantir 150, and then Nvidia after hours 171.2 currently right now. Yeah, I didn't like the Bleacher Report list either, bro. I didn't hate it, but the fact that if LeBron was number one, I think the sports community, the sports media world would have exploded, because there's not that many people that think LeBron's number one. I mean, you have some, but not that many. And I don't know. I think Jordan's the GOAT. Let's get an update from Bank of America. He was on today talking about a stable rate environment and what it means for their earnings to propel in the age of deregulation. Here's what he said, and then we will keep going from there.
Look, you look at these earnings, and net interest income is on an upswing thanks to an average loans up 7%, extremely stable credit quality. And I was just curious whether Moynihan believes there was a case to be made to lower interest rates right now, especially when the financial conditions seem so supportive. Moynihan said there's a case to be made to leave rates where they are for the time being before, quote, they start bringing rates down the second half of next year fairly aggressively. He said there are pockets of the economy that are more impacted by these rate levels than others.
I think the reality is that the bite on the economy is a lot in a small, medium-sized business area. And the reason why that happens is they borrow on their floating rate lines of credit, and that rate went up substantially. And it's come down a bit, but it's up substantially. And that slows down economic activity. And you couple that with with our commercial clients trying to figure out what's going on in the world around them, which is tricky to figure out for a $100 million business. They're a little bit reluctant right now. They will come along as soon as clarity comes. Tax bill first, trade policy second. Obviously, immigration is important to them.
TLDR, it's okay to cut rates. And he's saying our wealth management business will grow substantially if we cut rates, and the loans, the hundreds of billions of dollars of losses on our balance sheet because we issued loans at 2%, those will also come down, which will help us become net capital allocators, which is what a bank does, right? They lend out money throughout the economy if you bring down rates. So he's basically saying, hey, I don't think it's the worst thing in the world to bring down rates. It's just a question of if the Fed ultimately capitulates and gives us one of those rate cuts. Folks, we got some breaking news from Trump. He just tweeted, I've been speaking to Coca-Cola about using real cane sugar in Coke in the United States, and they have agreed to do so. I'd like to thank all of those in authority at Coca-Cola. This will be a very good move by them. You'll see. It's just better. Coca-Cola using real cane sugar in Coke. So currently right now, correct me if I'm wrong, dude, that was literally just me flowing. I didn't even try to do that, but currently right now, dude, it sounds kind of good, bro. I think it should be a podcast name. Currently right now, Coke, they're using high fructose corn syrup for sugar, right? Like, is that how they're artificially sweetening the freaking Coca-Cola? Let's ask Google. Is real sugar, a real cane sugar, a replacement for that? Let's see. Yes, cane sugar can be a replacement for high fructose corn syrup, but they are not identical. Okay, cool. So what Trump is saying, if you believe him, is that Coke just said we're going to stop using high fructose corn syrup, at least to an extent. I mean, dude, if that's true, that seems like a pretty big freaking deal. Like, that's like they've been using high fructose for a long time. Coca-Cola right here after hours, no big change. No big change. KO basically flat after hours. That's all RFK Jr. I mean, that's probably more RFK versus Trump. Bring the cane back to Coke. Okay, there you go. There you go. Does this affect Celsius? That's a good question. Celsius is that actually down after hours? Celsius is flat. It was down 2% on the day. It's flat right now. How does Buffett feel about this change? That's a good question. That is a good question. Now, look, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if replacing high fructose with actual cane sugar would make a meaningful difference in the product that would get people to stop drinking Coke. I would imagine no. That's what a lot of the health advocates, that's what RFK Jr. has been saying for a long time, but that could be one of the arguments for why the industry has kept Coke with high fructose corn syrup. This will hurt Coke because their COGS will go up. Well, there's no way they just willingly agree to it with Trump if they're not getting any benefit. I mean, if their margins are going to decrease because their cost of goods are going to go up, there's got to be something here that is a compromise. Also, I doubt it's going to be implemented immediately. I mean, Coke has massively complex supply chains. There's no way overnight that switches. Oh, yeah, Mexico does it. You're right. Mexico does do that. That is correct. I've had Mexican Coke once. It was a while ago. So, I mean, it was good. I don't remember exactly what it tastes like, but it was a long time ago. That is correct. Mexican Coke does use cane sugar. That is correct. That is true. All right, so there you go. That's your change. Is XRP moving after hours? Oh boy, XRP is moving. 309, up 6% after hours. What about Solana? Let's look at all the different coins. Fart coin's up 10% today, folks. Bitcoin is up 2% over the past 24 hours. Ethereum up 11%. Ethereum basically at 3,400. XRP up 7%. XRP up 30% over the past 7 days. Solana's up 12% over the past 7 days. Not too bad. 8% in the past 24 hours. Dogecoin, dude, we haven't looked at Dogecoin in so long. That's up 20% over the past 7 days as well. Chainlink's up 20%. HBAR's up 41%, 15 to 24. Kevin O'Leary was talking about that one. Shiba Inu is up 18%. Avalanche is up 19%. And Bitcoin right there, 7.8%. The Binance coin as well, 6.5%. So all of these crypto names are having fun. What about the Trump meme coin? How's that one doing? That was up 8% today, folks. It was down like 80% all time, but that was also up 8%. Dude, what a freaking day. What a freaking day. Donvin, thank you for the $50 super chat, new hat fund, and to celebrate what you do for this community. And also because I feel bad for pointing out you use there instead of there in your X post. Yes, you did comment that I used the wrong there, but that's okay. I hate when I make typos, but usually I'm okay if there's a more of a grammatical typo versus a spelling typo, because then at least the word doesn't sound off, even if it looks off. So appreciate you for the $50 super chat. Don't feel bad. I like when my tweets don't have those issues. So thank you for pointing it out. And thank you for being part of the channel. Chicago, thanks for the $5. Don't have much in my bank. It's all in my hood account. I appreciate it regardless. You guys do not have to give the super chats. I do not do this for the super chats, but I deeply, deeply appreciate it. And yeah, dude, as a community, it's just fun. It's just really fucking fun as a community being together. See, it's fun when I just curse. Like that one just try not to say the F word too much, but that one just naturally rolled off the tongue. So it's fun. No joke. I heard a guy say currently right now on a live stream today, I watch Trader TV Live in between your open and close. Well, maybe he's watching as well, and he's catching on, dude. It's always currently right now. Farzad, thank you for the $20 super chat. Release the Epstein files. I would agree. We did have that Trump tweet today. I read live on the market open. Very long tweet of Trump basically saying, get over it when it comes to the Epstein files. He called it a Democratic hoax. I mean, I don't even know what to say. Some of you guys did message me though, and that you started watching the Netflix Epstein documentary. Again, highly recommend it. If you're really looking for context, that documentary I think does a very good job. It's not biased. It really tries to present both sides. And yeah, dude, it's a sad day. I mean, it's been a sad week of him trying to gaslight everyone. But the thing is, it's not working. Everyone is still demanding the Epstein files. And so I don't know how long he can go by continuing to say that he's not going to put it out. By the way, speaking of the Epstein files, Elon has been doubling down on that. I forgot to share this. Elon said, I mean, this is one of many Elon tweets today, but Elon said, wow, amazing that Epstein killed himself and Ghislaine is in a federal prison for a hoax, with one of those thinking emojis. And he tweeted a bunch of other stuff later in the replies or earlier in the day, basically saying, if it's a hoax, why are people in jail? Or it's time to release the list, or he was like, why isn't even one person being prosecuted? So Elon is continuing to double down on this. And quite frankly, dude, look, I don't know if Elon was right about Trump being on the list, but damn it, it really feels like he's hiding something. And I don't know if it implicates him. I don't know if he's protecting other people, but you just, like a logical human being cannot sit here and say it doesn't feel a little weird that they're not putting this out. So hopefully we will eventually get that information. Tesla right here, 321. Do you guys want to see a post that looks toppy? Do you guys want to see a post that looks toppy? Because I saw this about 40 minutes ago. I had to bookmark it because my goodness, does this look toppy? But you know what? It's Tom Lee. And maybe he's going to take Ethereum to the promised land. Here's what he quote tweeted today. It is a picture of Vitalik, Tom Lee, and the other Ethereum co-founder, almost like they're like divine spirits of Ethereum. There's the Ethereum logo in the middle. I mean, dude, I saw this and I was like, top. I was like, top. That's all I could think when I saw this. And I don't say top that often, even if I feel it. But this one, I was like, this is a top. This is a divine, holy painting of Ethereum. Like the picture that Tom Lee showed a couple of days ago with him dancing with those like ballerinas about Ethereum, even that wasn't as toppy as this. This is toppy. Are halos the new laser eyes? Yeah, maybe. Granted, Ethereum's working. And if it keeps working, you know, it is what it is. Now above 3,400. So there you go. Where is BMNR after hours? 4602, 15%. SBET. Dude, people have made life-changing amounts of money in SBET today. I mean, just incredible amounts of money. $38, 31%. That is green on the day. Pouncer right here trying to get up a little bit after hours. Is Open Door still moving? SoFi 2131. Open Door after hours is still moving. Up another 1%, 44% on the day. Oh, I didn't look at MP today. Materials Corporation. That was down 5%. That's normal. It was up like 70% over the past week. That CEO is going to be with Trump at the All-In Summit, or at a summit hosted by All-In on July 23rd. Along with Shyam Sankar from Pouncer and Lisa Su from AMD. All of them are going to be together speaking about AI in DC. So that's going to be happening July 23rd. That's the same day as Tesla and Google earnings. So that's going to be a big day. But there will be some more momentum from the White House in terms of communicating what's going on with AI. Speaking of AI, let's take some coverage on Nvidia and their new China opportunity, given they can sell back into China.
Chips, but the Chinese have done a really good job around optimizing around older hardware, and that's why the H20 is valuable in China. But what I would say when we
MP did a share offering, okay, that's why it's down. Oh, I thought it was down 5% on the day. It's down after hours. You guys are right. Yeah, you're right. MP's down. Oh, I thought it was down 5%. See, dude, Robinhood really needs to fix this, bro. Like, can you please show me the after hours move? And this is the most annoying part about Legend. On Webull, it shows you the after hours move so you can clearly see if it's moving after hours or not. Like they really got to fix this in Legend because it just throws off the numbers. So, okay, so what's the share offering? How much are they doing? Let's see. 500 million. Okay, so this is a little confusing. Why are they doing a $500 million share offering when they just got 900 million of investments from Apple and the Pentagon? It's either bearish because you think they're kind of pulling a rug, or proceeds will support expansion efforts, including its 10x facility and broader strategic initiatives. JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs are lead book runners. Or it's bullish because you need a lot of rare earth mineral facilities, and ultimately they need more money to expand the operations. Maybe that's why. So I don't know. My gut reaction doesn't feel that bearish. The stock also, MP stock in the past month is up 70%. I mean, yeah, you probably should dilute, right? Like, if your stock's up 70% just because you got some strategic investors, not because the earnings fundamentally changed, I mean, that's an opportunity for dilution. And if you have to give back 10 to 20% of that, I think shareholders who bought in 70% ago are not going to be that mad. Now, if you bought in yesterday, you might be mad, but otherwise, doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal. All right, so that's what we got on MP. Some breaking news after our $500 million share offering. Let's get back here to Nvidia.
We talk about this sort of Nvidia picture and what makes Wall Street so bullish, talking about five, and you're not crazy to say $6 trillion, Brian. At this point, it's not just about chips, it's about the whole Nvidia ecosystem. We talked about this yesterday, but the CUDA software has been so critical to Nvidia's continued success and continued dominance. And that's also why the Chinese are prepared to take this less performant H20 chip, because it operates on the software, and that's what everyone is building on, right? So that has been extremely positive for Nvidia. And even without China, I mean, the China headlines when they couldn't sell, I mean, it was a huge hit, billions and billions of dollars, yet Nvidia still continue to do well because it's only a small part of the story. There's inference, right? That comes after training. Once you have the models, it's about how much the models are being used by enterprise, by consumers every single day. That is just like a hockey stick going up and up. So it has inference in its favor. It has the huge capex you mentioned, Brian. All these companies, you had Zuckerberg this week saying he wants to spend hundreds of billions of dollars in compute capacity. We know Google's doing the same thing. You've got Project Stargate with OpenAI and Oracle. You just got a lot going in its favor. And even though there's more competition in this phase of the AI race, inference versus training, it's NVIDIA's ecosystem that keeps it so dominant, not just.
And that is why NVIDIA is winning. By the way, speaking of all this compute spend, folks, we got some breaking news on XAI. XAI is in advanced talks to secure multi-gigawatt data centers of compute capacity in Saudi Arabia. This actually makes a lot of sense because Elon has been talking about expanding to Saudi Arabia for a long time. XAI is negotiating with Humane AI. This is the kind of subsidiary of the Public Investment Fund, the PIF in Saudi Arabia. They're basically the $1.7 trillion of investments is coming through this subsidiary into the United States, which is Humane AI. The deal is leasing a multi-gigawatt scale data center in the kingdom, long-term, separate 200 megawatt data centers for immediate deployment, and exploring sites to build AI factories in the UAE and Africa with low-cost energy infrastructure. Wow. And we just saw what freaking Zuck said yesterday about building out a 5 gigawatt data center. I mean, it's just hard to be bearish Nvidia and AMD when you see this stuff. Like, Grok is exploding in Japan. We'll talk more about that today. It's going viral because of Elon's companion mode. It's #1 in South Korea, Japan, Belgium. Like, it's like #1 beating ChatGPT in the App Store. And they're getting a ton of more compute. They need a lot more data centers, and they need a lot more capacity to build those data centers. And Saudi Arabia has a lot of land. And the king of Saudi Arabia wants to be investing in AI and diversifying from oil. So it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense. Is Bitcoin at 120? Are we back at 120? Bitcoin very close to 120, folks. Very close. 119.899 on Bitcoin. Looks like it's going to try to get back to 120. Again, there was some crypto news today that was pretty bullish from a procedural vote perspective, and that could be very good for Bitcoin. Alpha Cry, thank you for the $369.99 AED. I have no idea what currency that is. AED currency is United Arab Emirates dirhams. So thank you for that. Appreciate. I had no idea what AED is. Speaking of, the Middle East, thank you for that. Brother, can you check the chart of M87? Looks primed to rip hard. Team looks incredible too. They've been building real utility since 2027, and it looks crazy undervalued at the moment. Okay, so we'll put that on the list. M87 stock. Oh, no, this is a crypto. Okay, we'll put it on the list. We'll see what this looks like. Messier, M87. We'll put that on the list of... Yeah, M87 is not the ticker. That is a cryptocurrency, and we'll put that on the list. That one is up about 21% today. So there's a lot of these coins that are popping up. This one, we're going to see if there's utility behind it when I look into it. By the way, the Ethereum deep dive, that is not happening until next week, guys. I wanted to do it tomorrow, but some of the people that I were talking to said they have to do it next week. Bitcoin back to 120. Bitcoin back to 120. So yeah, next Thursday, we will do the deep dive on Ethereum. The people that I'm talking with, they just need an extra week because some of them were traveling. So maybe we'll do a deep dive tomorrow. I'll see if I can get some people for a different stock, but Ethereum deep dive likely will take until next week. So Bitcoin's at 120. You got some of that momentum happening there. Bo Vanda, thank you for the $20 super chat. Amit, thanks for the insight, the laughs, and for being a good sport about the jokes. Appreciate you, Bo Vanda. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the super chat. And you got to be able to laugh at yourself, right? If you can't laugh at yourself, it's hard to get through life. So thank you for that super chat. Shout out to Chad in the chat. Just looked at the market. We closed above 150. Chad, you are correct. We did indeed close above 150. We hit 151 during the day. And we got that close at 150, basically at 151, 9 cents away, 150.91. Palantir up about 1.57% on the day. It's pretty incredible, dude. Pretty incredible. Across the entire market of some of the names that you would say deserve a premium, they've been getting a premium. And that premium has not been dissipating from the market, primarily because, like, you know, someone asked today, why did I buy 100 shares at 103 outside of the technical reason? Because I sold Webull, sold the covered call against it, yada, yada. The actual reason I had no problem buying at 103 is because I'd rather double down on a company that I believe in. And so for the people that are buying in at these levels, is Palantir expensive? Yes. Is Hood expensive? Yes. But at some point, if you want more exposure, you're going to have to buy. And a lot of these fund managers, Mizuho, why do they upgrade it to 135 today? Because they realize this thing, the idea that's saying it deserves to be $70 or $80 when we've seen all this momentum and we've seen the type of narrative that's been formed around the company and the execution matching that narrative, it's just hard to put a price target that low because of valuation. Now, if we get a bear market, macroeconomic slowdown, then yes, anything can fall. But the idea of saying that it deserves to fall purely because of valuation, even if they're executing, doesn't have to be the case. I mean, look at Tesla. You put a premium on these generational companies. 150.91 right here on Palantir. Any thoughts on D-Wave? So we've talked about this a lot. I do not own it, but we've got our Quantum Bull in the chat, Quantess. She's loved it. I think she's been long since under $1, $17. I mean, if you could make the argument that quantum is not real, like Skrelly tried to do on the channel when he debated her, you can make that argument, but it's not really manifesting itself in terms of the stock price. And at that point, you're just kind of waiting to see if, like, the quantum thesis fails. And if it never fails, then you might end up waiting for a very long time. I do not own it, but QBTS right here, 16.91 on the day. Here is Jensen today. There are a bunch of clips going viral today of him talking at the Beijing conference, taking questions from reporters. Here's what he had to say about one of the verticals that has not exploded yet for Tesla, which is humanoid robots.
The humanoid robots industry in China, and how will Nvidia deepen these operations?
Several things. One, the world has a deep shortage of labor. If we had more people working in factories and manufacturing, the world's GDP would grow up a lot, because we're short not by a million, or we're short by tens of millions around the world. And so I think the whole world would be more prosperous if we had more automation. The second is the timing of humanoid robots and AI is happening right now, which is very exciting. We can see the technology happening. And then the third part of your question is, what about China? China is in a very special place because you have three things. One, you have excellent AI technology already, as I mentioned before. Second, you're extremely good at mechanical and electrical things. It's called mechatronics. China is very good at that. And then third thing is you have a very large manufacturing base to hire those robots. And so these three conditions are very unique in China. So I'm very optimistic for robotics development here in China.
How about cooperation with companies like Unitree?
We try to serve companies all over China that we are allowed to. Any company that we're allowed to serve, we try to do the best we can. And there are many smart young companies as well as established companies. Even, I wouldn't be surprised if Xiaomi has an amazing robot in the future, or BYD has an amazing robot in the future. So there's a lot of development here.
Basically, Jensen saying, hey, we have a whole nother vertical that's coming up, and that vertical is going to be robots, and those robots are not stopping. Bitcoin right here, just getting rejected at 120, 119 after hours. Is Ethereum still 3,400? Ethereum is still 3,400. I think that's another bull case on Tesla. I mean, I know the robots are going to take a while to expand and to grow, but I think eventually the street will give it that premium as they continue to get momentum. Raghu, thanks for the $10 super chat. Thanks for what you do. I followed your Hood covered call idea. Yeah, I don't think it was a crazy idea today. Selling Webull, taking the loss, buying Hood for less than, like 100 shares of Hood would be less than 1,000 shares of Webull in terms of the absolute dollar cost, and then just breaking even on the premiums by holding these 100 shares till March and collecting that 1750 by selling the 120 covered call. So it was one of those days where you could use covered calls to get back some of the premium. Now I do have to hold those shares to March, but then again, I'm planning on holding Hood for a very long time, so it's not a big deal. If Hood tanks from where I bought it, then that is the downside to it, but I'd rather hold Hood down from 103 versus Webull at 1250, just because I don't believe too much in it. So I don't think it was the craziest idea to do that as well. I like Lemonade. I'm not buying it. I said this a couple weeks ago after we did the deep dive. The only reason I don't really like Lemonade from an investment perspective, even though I think it's fine as a company, Steve really doesn't like them as a company. Steve, I think, will be on tomorrow to explain his disdain for Lemonade. But the moat to me seems AI rooted insurance. And I think if I'm buying a company because of AI as the tailwind, I don't want to buy an insurance company that's like differentiated just because of AI. And that's what I got from the deep dive. I'd rather buy something that's more deeply rooted in AI than an insurance company that's leveraging AI. So from my understanding, the company doesn't plan to be profitable for like the next 5 years. And that's an issue with me. I don't like that. And then number two is just like, it's insurance. Like, it's just not that exciting of a business to want to invest in. As a trade, it's whatever, but as an investment, that's why I'm surprised Lemonade has such a cult. There is a cult around Lemonade. And I don't know, maybe it's insurance. I don't get why there's such a deep cult, but for some reason there is, which is good for the stock. It's good for the community. It's good for the due diligence, but personally as an investment, it's not the most exciting, which is why I'm not in it. We got Tanner in the chat. Amit, I spoke with Devin Ryan. His price target on Hood is 500 for the decade. Wow. That is a big one. Devin Ryan, for those that don't know, I think Tanner did a podcast with him. Tanner, is that coming out today? Oh, that's already out. Oh, boom. Oh, all right, folks. Tanner, we're going to use your clip right here for some content, baby. I'm going to link Tanner's video. Everyone make sure to go watch it. Make sure to go watch it. But we got to find that moment where he says 500. We got to find that moment where he says 500. Devin Ryan will be on my show after Hood earnings, but Tanner did a 1 hour podcast with him. Wow. That's a long podcast. Okay, let's find that clip. Let's find that clip right here. There we go. So I'm linking this in the chat. This should be like 30 seconds. Let's see Mr. Devin Ryan say 500 in the decade. I think I already got it, Tanner. I think I got the timestamp.
The size of their business over the next decade. And I absolutely think they can do that. So that would imply a $30 billion revenue type of company. And so, not put the cart before the horse here, but, the view is that, if they can do that, this is going to be a company that's worth probably, $500. And, it's a question of how long that takes.
Look at Tanner. Look at Tanner. He's like Tanner's just seeing the Lambo in his big ass glasses. Tanner is seeing the Lambo as he hears $500.
Saying 10 years, so I don't want to pay $500 for it today.
Crazy, yeah.
Is $100, $125? You're still getting a really big return if they can execute on that. And I think you just see what they're doing across, going after active traders, how they deliver their offerings they're so compelling, and now getting into, it's not just crypto. It's not about trading Dogecoin. It's about how do you tokenize all assets, and what is the market opportunity of that? Again, it goes back to my earlier point. We're at the starting line of this, but they're going to play a big role in that. That's why they're.
That's incredible, dude. That is incredible. I will link this in the chat. Again, everyone, please make sure to go watch Tanner's podcast. Devin Ryan, for those that don't know, is one of the only analysts on Wall Street that was actually bullish on Robinhood back when it was $8. He started coverage, I think, at like 24, 25, wrote it down to 8, and he's been bullish ever since. And for him to put a $500 price target in the next decade, that's what, a 5x from here by 2035, which would imply a basically $500 billion company, a little bit more than $500 billion. I mean, dude, here's the thing. The reason I think that's believable, like genuinely believable outside of the growth and Vlad and the execution, yada, yada, is because Robinhood's getting a tech company multiple. It's not getting a fintech multiple. It's not getting a financial services multiple. It's getting a tech company multiple because they're operating like a tech company and they're putting up growth like a tech company. They have operating leverage like a tech company. And we've seen tech companies, the Teslas, the Nvidias, the Palanters of the world, get multiples. So it's pretty damn incredible to see this. Tanner says he's unbelievably bullish on Robinhood and Coinbase, one of the best interviews I've ever done. Yeah, I am looking forward to watching this. Again, I'll put it in the chat. Definitely make sure to check this out. By the way, this Tanner, yeah, I was just about to say, this guy's bullish on SoFi. He has a $25 bull case or a $25 fair value, but his price target is 17. So it's not like he's only bullish on Robinhood. That's one of his major holdings or one of his major like investment cases over the next decade. And he's been bullish for the past 5 years, but he also likes Coinbase and SoFi. His price target is not 17. Well, dude, that's what the official JMP Securities report says. So he needs to update that if it's not 17. His fair value is 25. I thought that was weird. Why is his fair value different from his? Let me see if I can find the exact one and see what they have. Okay, hold on. Okay, so maybe this is a little wrong. His prior price target was 17, now withdrawn or not reiterated. Okay, so he doesn't have a price target on SoFi now? He never gave a price target. They misreported it. Okay. Well, he should give a price target since that's kind of his job. But Tanner was basically interviewing his doppelganger. So basically, he's more bullish on SoFi, the company, but he doesn't want to put a cap or a actual estimate on what they could be worth. Okay, well, if you guys watch Tanner's video, I'm sure there'll be more details on how he thinks about SoFi. He doesn't have a price target. They are working on updating it. He said it will go higher. Okay, makes sense. Makes sense. So we'll likely get a new report from him probably in the coming weeks. It's a crazy day, folks. Crazy, crazy, crazy freaking day. I mean, it's just one of those days, dude. You want to do a year? Let's do a year to date. Let's do a year to date update. Let's do a year to date update in the chat. What do we got? Year to date, I was at 74 on Monday. I am at 87. 87% on the year to date. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? That's from the Gladiator, right? Are you not entertained? It's from the Gladiator, right? Am I not wrong? Yes, Gladiator. See? You guys say I don't know movies, bro. I know my movies. I know my movies. Dude, incredible, incredible week. 34% on Nikhil, 35% on Real Hood. Amber started 3 months ago and it's 27%. Amber, first of all, congrats for starting to invest 3 months ago. I mean, this is the beauty of a bull market. It brings new people in. Eventually, you have to deal with the volatility of stocks not just going up and going down. But if 3 months ago was April, so if you kind of jumped in during April, it wasn't the worst time to jump in. But congrats for even starting to invest. And up 27% in 3 months is absolutely incredible. Erwin, heavy on Rocket Lab, up 143%. I'm Ben, up 133%. Shout out to Hoodie. Brandon, up 113. Christopher, up 25. Magusto, up 50. Enzen, up 149. Matt Money's up 57% on his regular, 83% on his IRA. Element, 120%. Thank you to Celsius. Celsius, up 70% year to date, has been incredible. 35, 65, 62, 93, 77, 18%, up 120% on Rocket Lab. Heavy on Ethereum, up 45% year to date. One of my accounts went from 69K on April 8th to 201,000, nearly a 3x. Dude. Again, people will see these comments and be like, oh, top-ish, too much money, it's too easy, yada, yada. First of all, it's not too easy, okay? Buying in April was not easy. First of all, let's get that clear. You had to have a lot of just like see-through on this whole tariff nonsense to be able to buy that dip, or at least not sell. Number two, it might feel easy now, but again, I'm going to keep reiterating this. I think it's easy because big money is pumping these bags. Like, I mean, like, I don't think Nvidia 170 is all retail. I think that's a lot of fund managers that missed Nvidia, and they're like, it's a blue chip stock that no one's going to blame them on if Nvidia goes back to 150 for buying at 170, because it's probably going to come back to 170. And so you've got support at 170. I mean, after the China news came out, Nvidia went from 165 to 172. You think that was all retail pumping that up? No, like I think that was a lot of algorithms and hedge fund managers and money managers saying, hey, all right, China revenue back, everything gets re-rated, we have to buy in. So are there some parts of the market that are frothy and feel too easy? Yes. Like people being up 700,000 on SBET in like 2 days. Is that too easy? Yes. But it comes down to, do you believe in Ethereum, and do you believe SBET deserves a premium on their NAV on the underlying Ethereum assets they hold? I don't know the answers to those questions, but I don't think that necessarily means that's indicative of the entire market being too easy. That might just be SBET being too easy, right? But that's not a full-on bear case for the entire market. Jason's up 37%. Shout out to Melanie. Gold stars for all retail investors. Melanie is a teacher, which has a very special place in my heart because my mom, my sister, and both of my grandmothers were teachers. So the teaching profession means a lot to me. Gold stars for all retail investors. Yeah, it was not easy, bro. It was not easy. It was not easy at all. Pretty much the averages I'm seeing across the board are upwards of 30 to 40%, which is amazing. Red Dragon year to date up 68% after losing half of it back in 2022. Dude, 2022, it was disgusting, bro. It was disgusting. I think I woke up one day and it was so bad back in like December 2022. Remember, Palantir bottomed in December. Palantir didn't bottom in October. The market bottomed in October. Palantir bottomed in December 2022. That's when it fell to at $1.598 a share. I still have some buys. I think I bought like a couple hundred shares in that really low 6 range. A majority of the buys were in that 7 to 8 range. But like the fact that it fell below $6, I was all in Palantir at the time, so my portfolio was just absolutely obliterated. And I think I bought like I will check my history one day. I think I bought one share under 6. If I can find it, I will try. I think I even tweeted. Can I find that? Let's see if we can use Grok, bro. Grok's supposed to be able to find tweets. Let's see. It's supposed to be able to find old tweets because Twitter search sucks. I remember my caption was like, I'm going to tell my grandkids about this. Find a tweet by @AmitIsInvesting in which he shares a screenshot of buying Palantir with the caption around telling his grandkids or something like that about the fact that he was alive to buy the stock. Let's see if Grok comes up with something. We'll see. But dude, from that to now is just like, it's wild, bro. It is absolutely freaking wild. And we're here. We're doing it. Mate, what jobs did you have before this? So again, I've never worked at a corporate job. I had a consulting firm around public speaking and debate. I know that sounds really weird, but there's a lot of money out there for people that want to learn better how to speak. And my main clients were debate kids in high school, and their parents paid a lot of money per hour to teach them how to publicly speak. The reason they reached out to me is because I had a big reputation in the debate community. So I did that all throughout college. And after I graduated college and I was just figuring out life, I kind of just kept doing that on the side, and that was paying the bills. And I didn't have to actually get a corporate job. Now, that did require a lot of traveling to tournaments and a lot of traveling up and down New Jersey, because a lot of my wealthier clients lived in Bergen County, New Jersey, which for anyone who knows Bergen County, it's a very wealthy place in Jersey. And those were the clients that could afford to pay like $150 an hour, right? So I would have to drive up a good 2 hours every day to go see them. That's what I did. Now, I know there's like 17 words every other hour during the market open and market close that I don't know how to pronounce. I get it. So you might be thinking, how the hell did this guy convince people to pay him money to teach them how to speak? I get it. I understand. But, you know, it was debate. It wasn't really just how to like pronounce words. So that's how we did it. Charging lawyer fees? Nah, dude. I remember the first time I negotiated a contract, I think it was for 80 an hour. No, it was for 65 an hour. And I got on FaceTime with the parent, and I was just like, I'm gonna shoot high. Like I was like in my head, I'm like, this guy's not gonna pay me more than like 25 an hour. But I was like, screw it. If he settles on like 30, I'll be happy. I was like, yeah, I would like to do 65. And he looked at his wife. He was like, okay, that's fine. And I was like, damn it, why? Like I should have asked for 100. Like if these people have this much money to just throw out, that's when I realized wealthy people, they will pay whatever for freaking for their kids. Like when it comes to piano lessons or sports lessons or whatever, like if you're wealthy and you have kids, you will pay whatever. And so the next time I went to negotiate with someone else, I was like, yeah, can we do 120? And they were like, sure. And I was like, I should have said 150, dude. What the hell is going on? Like, they just have all this money. I think the most I ever got paid per hour is 175. And it was like on a 20-hour contract. So 20 sessions, 1 hour per session. A lot of this was done through Zoom, by the way. So I like a lot of clients, I didn't have to like leave my college dorm. I could just do it through Zoom. But when I graduated, a lot of it was more in person. But yeah, dude, that's where I learned a little bit more about negotiating. It's like, you got to always start high, bro. You come down when they come down, but start freaking high, bro, because you just never know. You just never know. You literally just said that people paid a lot of money so you could teach people how to better speak. Okay, better speak in the context of debate, which is a whole different world of speaking. It's not literally just speaking. It's like competitive argumentation, which, I mean, it's a very niche skill set. Like, the reason I could charge that much is because not a lot of people were super successful in debate. And the reason parents want their kids to be successful in debate is because it looks good on their college applications. Like, it looks really good if you're applying to Harvard and you can say I was a top 5 debater in the country. Well, to become a top 5 debater, you need someone who is a top 5 debater who can teach you. And, you know, they're probably going to charge a bit of a higher fee because not that many people did it. But I stopped consulting last year, dude. I mean, like, last year I had a couple clients, but I just don't have time anymore. I've had a couple people reach out. I don't have the time. I just don't. I barely have time to do a daily recap every day. How am I going to, you know, I don't have the time to consult with people for an hour, you know? So it's just a different world. But again, that's pretty much what I did for the past like 10 years to make money. Yes, the master debater jokes are fine. Dude, I've had those for a decade. Okay. I've had those for a decade. So like you gotta be better. You gotta be better on the originality of those jokes. Oh, did I say better speak? Yeah, I meant speak better. Oh, that's why you guys are laughing. I meant to say speak better, not better speak. See, this is why no one believes that I got paid hundreds of dollars an hour to teach people how to speak better, not better speak. Yeah, it took me a minute, okay? It took me a couple minutes to get it. This is why I don't teach people how to speak anymore. This is why. They'll do a background check on me, watch my YouTube videos, and be like, I'm not paying this guy a freaking penny. I'm not paying this guy a penny. Oh my gosh. Better speak. Yes. It is what it is. It is what it is. Anyway, that's what I used to do. For those that were asking, that's what I used to do. Okay, what other headlines do we have? Okay, you guys keep sending the super chats. Everett, thank you for the 140 Canadian Dolores. Thank you so much, Amit. I'm up over 300,000 following your lead on some great investments over the last couple of years. Dude, congrats. Big congratulations. 300K is a big deal. 300K is a big deal. Again, I will say it over and over again. Most Americans they don't invest, much less have a savings account that is anywhere near, forget 300,000, anywhere near 10,000. So congratulations, incredible. Sometimes you don't need a lot of winners. You just need 2 big ones to change your life. I know Palantir and Hood, big winners for a lot of people. Nvidia, big winners for a lot of people after DeepSeek. AMD, big winner this year. Even SoFi was at freaking $8 at 21. Big winner. Hopefully Grab is going to be a big winner for us. Reddit right here, big winner as well for people. Amazon's been a big winner. I mean, just like many of these names over the past couple of years have been incredible. Palantir and Hood have been a little bit more than incredible, but it's been a hell of a market. And it's been a market, again, backed by earnings. It's been a market backed by earnings. Okay, so let's see what else we got. Okay, so Grok said I couldn't find a result. I'm going to see if I can keep prompting Grok because I know I posted something like this a while ago. Grok is showing me the video, the screenshot when I bought Palantir at 100. But this is not the one I'm looking for. I'm looking for a different one. Dude, the fact that I bought these shares at 103 when Palantir crossed 100, when was that? In February? I mean, come on, bro. Like, goodness gracious. These shares, Palantir's at 150 today. Like, imagine buying it at 100. All of us were like, oh my goodness, it's crossing 100. Like, that was the time to buy, apparently. Given it's at 150. Incredible stuff on Palantir. Okay, so a couple things I want to show you guys. We still have some headlines. Again, Tanner's podcast, make sure to watch that. He goes deeper with Devin Ryan on SoFi, Coinbase, and Robinhood. We talked about all the Trump stuff. Oh, let's talk about the Grok stuff. So Grok is going viral in Japan for very predictable reasons. As you can see right here, this AI companion thing has gone viral. Andrei Karpathy, who was the head of AI at Tesla, and I think he was at OpenAI before. He said the great filter is kind of cute. Elon posted, "Andre, are you okay? Are you okay, Andre?" And then someone asked him if they could license his name. Let me see if I can pull it up. Elon said only if Andre is okay with it. And then Andre said, "Let's talk about a rev share." Yeah, right here, which is hilarious, dude. It's one of those things, bro, where I think is Grok's sneaky way of gaining momentum over ChatGPT using this freaking AI companion girl? Like, is that really going to be how they do this? Because if they do, you got to admit it's pretty freaking smart, bro. I mean, it's a bit raunchy and it's a bit out there, but if Grok gets to be number one over ChatGPT because of launching AI companions, which, like, outside of the fact that, you know, there's other reasons why people might want to use those products and services. Like, one of the big things around ChatGPT is, and these LLMs, is talking to it, right? In voice. And if you can look at something while you're talking to it and there's some type of way to be able to have a better experience with the LLM, I mean, that is a differentiator from GPT. And GPT doesn't have a companion mode yet. It has a voice mode, but not a companion mode. So, I mean, it is kind of wild, dude. If that's how they're going to their GTM, their go-to-market, then maybe that's the way it's going to continue to get momentum. Remember, this is a good point. One of you guys mentioned in the chat, ChatGPT went viral in April for, I'm going to say it wrong, but Ghibli, or whatever that filter was. Remember that Ghibli filter that freaking OpenAI licensed, and then like everyone started using it, and so many teenagers started downloading GPT just because they wanted to like change their photos to Ghibli. For the Tech Bros thumbnail, I used that same filter right there with me, Tanner, and Roy. That was one of their hacks. I think it got them like 30 million users or 30 million downloads in a month on GPT. So maybe this is one of the ways to appeal to the masses. Because at the end of the day, you got to break through the noise. I was at my mom's friend's house yesterday for dinner with my grandparents, and they have a daughter who's a sophomore in college. And I was talking to her and her dad works in data analytics. And he was like, "So what LLM do you use?" And I was like, "Grok." He was like, "What's Grok?" Which is wild, right? It was like, what's Grok? And I was just like, dude, and then his daughter, I was like, "What do you use?" She was like, "Oh, like there's another model. I thought it's just ChatGPT." And it was wild to me because it's like, you got people who are living, you know, their regular lives. They're in college, they're in work. They're not spending all day analyzing every different LLM. They think of AI as freaking ChatGPT. They don't even know there's a Grok or a Gemini. They don't know there's an Anthropic. They don't know any of this shit. So it is still such an underpenetrated market in terms of the overall opportunity for these platforms to get billions, not millions, billions of users. And OpenAI is kind of running away with it as the de facto model. But if OpenAI, if a Grok has a go-to-market that's rooted in some type of companion mode that gets people to download the app, and it's better than GPT, I mean, there you go. That could be a different go-to-market that obviously could be very beneficial for these AI companies. Again, we saw that headline, Anthropic potentially being valued at $100 billion. It was at $60 billion a couple months ago. So the valuations are increasing. The revenue is basically 4x'd. It is quite incredible to see this momentum, but all of it also goes back to Nvidia. Was I saying it right? Is it Ghibli? I'm saying it right? It's Ghibli. I was definitely saying it wrong when it came out. I think I was saying like Gilbilly or something, but hopefully I was saying it right. Ghibli. Dude, when Anthropic IPOs, by the way, I was looking at some stats on Anthropic. They're expected to do $35 billion in revenue by 2035, if I'm not wrong. And GPT is expected to do about 29 billion or 125 billion by 2030. So obviously there's a big discrepancy there, but still it's a decent chunk of revenue that these guys are planning to do. Or sorry, 35 billion by 2030, not by 2035. And so you could understand why the street's willing to pay, or why the public market, the private markets are willing to pay that much money. Here's some other stats on different companies. Bedrock Robotics raised a $60 million Series A. $60 million Series A. Another startup in the robotic space that's raising venture capital. Why are they raising 60 million? Because the street's ready to, or at least the VCs are ready to give them more money to grow in a space that they believe is underpenetrated, which is AI and robotics. And then this company, Unify, which from my understanding is a email AI assistant, if I'm not wrong. Or that might be another one, but this one is another AI company. Let me check out their website real quick. They raised 40 million, a 40 million Series B. A 40 million. No, they're a data analytics company. They're an AI data analytics company, but there's another email company that I'll show you. Here's the video they put out today on their 40 million Series B.
The co-founders of Unify. Today we have some very exciting news to share. It's been 2 years and change since we incorporated Unify in early 2023. And today I'm excited to share that we've raised a $40 million Series B led by Battery with participation from OpenAI Startup Fund, Thrive, Emergence, Abstract, and other great partners. We're building the world's first system of action for growing revenue. We help companies turn automated outbound into their best performing growth channel and help make go-to-market repeatable, observable, and scalable in a way that just hasn't been possible before. Whether it's Perplexity, making knowledge easier to find, or Flock Safety, keeping neighborhoods safe, our goal is to help our customers scale their mission. Today, reps spend 90% of their time working on repetitive manual tasks they just don't need to be doing anymore. We use AI to change that so that reps can spend time talking to humans, which is what they do.
40 million Series B, OpenAI is investing. Here's the other company I was thinking of. This is not an email company. That's a different one. But here's another one I found last night. Open Evidence, an AI medical assistant, raised $210 million at a $3.5 billion valuation. It's used by 40% of US doctors. I've never heard of this company. It handles 8.5 million clinical consults a month. The company also launched Deep Consult, an AI agent for PhD level evidence synthesizing. I mean, dude, we're talking about these companies that are basically built on top of the LLMs, because you know they're probably doing a API call to GPT in order to become an AI medical assistant. And they're valued at $3.5 billion. My wife uses this every day. Okay, so if we got any doctors in the chat or people that have doctors as significant others, I mean, dude, doctors deal with a lot of data, a lot of consulting, a lot of synthesizing of that data to recommend different drugs, prescriptions, etc. You have a medical AI assistant that is with you 24/7 to ask questions as a doctor to reaffirm your hypothesis on a patient. I mean, what's that worth? Probably worth a little bit more than $100 a month. One could argue it's worth $1,000 a month. I mean, doctors make good money. A lot of them get premiums from insurances. You could definitely say this is a useful thing to have inside of a hospital. 40% of US doctors using this. I mean, this is just incredible. This is the type of like almost astronomical levels of productivity that we're seeing across the entire market. And I think I need to do a better job at covering some of these AI startups because a lot of them are bullshit, but the ones that really are growing and that are special and that are raising money, they are just A, going to be giving a lot of that money back to Nvidia, but B, they're highlighting why Nvidia even exists in the first place. Nvidia right here, 171.2 after hours. My local drug dealer uses it. And so it's just one of those things where it's like, it's hard to deny that there are use cases. Because again, one of the things we were talking about in 2023 are one of the reasons Palantir started breaking out to 25 towards the end of 2023 and then dumped to 16 and then 2024 it went on its run is a lot of the street was thinking, okay, what are the use cases of all these LLMs? And Karp's main argument was, hey, you can't just keep spending money on the LLMs. You have to spend money on the use cases of what these models are being trained for, which are workflows inside of an enterprise, making the enterprise more productive, not just talking to a chatbot. And so the more and more use cases we see of AI, from robotics to self-driving to medicine, it should highlight the necessity for investors to feel urgency to be allocated to the most important AI names. And I think that's what we're seeing in some of these startups as well. Vlad, thank you for the $10 super chat. We are very fond of that name Vlad here on the channel. Amit, thank you for what attorneys do. Started with 200K last April and broke 500K today. Heavy Hood and Palantir. I think you're saying attorney because attorney gets paid that much. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for being here. Yeah, it's like an attorney level salary, right? 300K in a year from investing. Not even in a year. In April, if you mean last April 2024, then that's a year. If it's April 3 months ago, then that's a couple months. But it's incredible stuff, man. Absolutely freaking incredible stuff. And yeah, congrats. Congrats to everybody. It's a big, big year so far. July, dude, remember in freaking January, or not January, in April or at the end of March when things were looking bad and then April it really got bad? I remember specifically, I was like, guys, what if Verizon, because Verizon was actually like up 15% and Nvidia was down 40%. I was like, what if Verizon by the end of the year is outperforming Nvidia? And we all kind of concluded that probably is not going to happen, which is why a lot of us bought more Nvidia, not Verizon. But like, that's how desperate it was looking. We were like, is Verizon going to outperform Nvidia by the end of the year? That's not happening. That is not happening. So it's pretty incredible. Brandon, thanks for the $5 super chat. This AI adoption and compute demand spend is not a bubble, it's a revolution. How does the market price it completely in a new economy? You know, that's a good point. This is a point that Dougie, he might not be in the chat right now, but Dougie has talked to me about this as well. And it's got me to think about Palantir in a different way. We had these conversations years ago, but it was like, how do you put a TAM on what Palantir is trying to do? Because you can say the TAM is $1 trillion, you can say it's $2 trillion, you can say it's 800 billion, but like, what really is the TAM? Because what is Palantir doing? Palantir is fundamentally transforming an enterprise. And that is a revolution. That is a revolution. And they're growing as if it's a revolution. And the use cases from all these customers that I've had the privilege of speaking to at this point, like 30 of them in the past AIP cons, it's not a joke. I mean, the Citibank guy that I interviewed literally said, the reason we are going to beat every single bank in the world is because of Palantir. And he's a competitive guy. So how do you put a TAM on that, right? Or how do you price that is the broader question. It's not even how do you put a TAM on it. How do you value that? It's really hard. You would imagine you give it a premium, but okay, but what does the premium look like? What if they keep growing into it? Like how? It's a complicated question. And I think that is why this market continues to give some of these names momentum as well as we try to understand this brand new world that we're living in. And it is pretty incredible. Let's get an update right here on the Fed and tariffs. So here is one. Actually, instead of getting an update on the Fed and tariffs, I've got someone calling into the show. Let's see who it is. Steve, good afternoon.
Hey, Ned, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Just to let you know, I am live on my market close right now.
You are a good role model, just like Tanner. Good role model.
I appreciate that. How you doing, Steve?
I am exhausted, Amit.
Why are you exhausted, Steve?
Because I slept 2 hours last night.
Dude, why are you? What, dude? You were just sick last week. You could barely talk. Why are you not getting sleep? What's going on?
I don't know. I couldn't sleep last night. I legitimately slept 2 hours. It was not good.
Okay, why did you only sleep 2 hours?
I don't know, because I couldn't fall asleep. The next thing I know, it's 3 a.m. and I'm still awake.
No, but what were you doing at 3 a.m.?
Nothing. I was laying in bed. I couldn't sleep.
So you weren't on your phone? You weren't like looking at Instagram videos or something? Or like,
no.
You know what you did? Dude, you didn't drink your milk last night. That's the issue.
I need to start taking freaking Benadryl every night to try to go to sleep.
Wait, did you still did you get the vanilla milkshake last night?
You know, I may have ordered the diner and I may have got a vanilla milkshake.
Okay, so you had so maybe that vanilla milkshake kept you up last night, bro. Maybe that's what happened.
I doubt it very much. The same way the pizza I got today is not going to keep me up either.
Well, I'm happy you're awake enough to call into the show. The chat definitely has missed you since Friday.
I didn't realize you were still alive. I'm running on fumes, but yeah, man, this lemonade community, they're crazy.
Okay, so so you set it up. My computer's about to die, so I'm just gonna plug my charger in real quick. But tell everybody what's going on with Lemonade.
I don't know. People want me to go on a Spaces to discuss Lemonade, so I'm not able to share a screen. I'm not able to share charts or anything like that. So I don't know. And then people are saying that I'm incorrect on how Lemonade is utilizing its unused premiums to donate to charity, even though I quoted their website and took everything right from their FAQ page. So, I mean, Amit, I sent you word for word what it says on their FAQ page. I mean, does it seem like I'm incorrect on that?
I mean, look, so let me set it up for everybody. Steve is not bearish Lemonade, but he's definitely not the most excited about this stock. And the Lemonade community has started ripping him into pieces, trying to come after him for his article. And basically, the thing they're mad about is Steve said, hey, in their website, in their FAQ, they say if we have unused premiums, we will donate that to charity. And you were like, hey, a company that's not profitable shouldn't be donating their unused premiums to charity. And the Lemonade community basically was like, I mean, I don't know what the response, they were just mad you said that, I guess.
And it goes further than that because they're taking a flat fee, and if after they pay off all the claims in that policy period, if there is still unused premiums, instead of that going back to the shareholders via a dividend or a buyback or being reinvested in the company as retained earnings, they are donating all of it. So not only are they not profitable, not only are their policy premiums not enough to pay for just the operating expenses, forget about the policy benefits, just operating expenses, they're not even generating enough in policy premium to generate that, but they're also losing money. So I don't know, maybe they can grow their way out of it. I'm not seeing the forest through the trees on this one. And the bigger thing for me is based on how they're set up, even if they get to a point where they're very profitable, those unused premiums are never going to go to a capital allocation program back to shareholders. So to me, I don't know, it's not an exciting investment because I know that there's going to be a lot of money that could go to enhance shareholder value, but they are going to go back to donations.
So
and as an investor, I want to invest in companies where I'm getting ROI on my capital.
If you had to pick between Oscar and Lemonade for the next decade, what would you pick?
I don't know what is going to do better. Let's preface it by that. But the way the numbers look, I would think Oscar has a better foundation to grow on. But it's two different businesses. One is healthcare, one is personal lines, auto, insurance, that type of stuff, pet care, which, look, Lemonade may have a huge business it can grow upon. It really may. It's just their margins are negative, and right now they're pre-profitability, and I'm not seeing a path to get profitable for at least several years.
So here's my take. I don't even think you should do a spaces with this community or talk to them because at the end of the day, you're not going to change their mind. They're not going to. You're first of all, you're definitely not going to change their mind. They're a cult. They're not going to change your mind because you don't think they're seeing the company the same way as you. So I think let it play out over the next year, and one of you guys is going to be right, and that's it. Versus wasting energy.
I mean, I'm going to tell them if they want to go on YouTube.
Well, so they're not going to go on YouTube because a lot of them are anonymous, which is a little weird to me. Like,
well, to me that's a problem because I'm not going on spaces where I can't show proof of stuff. It's just people talking. I want to be able to show the charts. I want to be able to show the balance sheet, show the income statement, show the cash flow statement, and show the actual numbers. Because once again, the numbers are not my numbers. The numbers are their numbers. And then show the difference between that and a company like Oscar. And then show the difference on the cash flow statement between them and a mature company like Travelers. And have somebody actually explain to me how donating unused premiums is a good use of shareholder dollars.
So I think they would do. I think they would do a YouTube with you. They just wouldn't show their face. So hopefully, being anonymous wouldn't stop because some of them came on my stream even though they were anonymous. But yeah, I mean, I think
why would you even let them come on if they're anonymous?
Because I mean, I needed someone to talk about. So I asked on Twitter who can talk about Lemonade, and the people that kept getting tagged, I had to reach out to because they got tagged like 50 times, and they don't show their face on the internet. And I mean, look, I'm not going to judge anyone who does it. If you want to protect your privacy, it is what it is. But, you know, that's a lot of them. So there's no, I can't do anything about it.
Yeah, it's weird to me that when capital and look, this is a financials company. Insurance is part of financials. Most companies in this sector are known for capital allocation to shareholders. I think Citigroup just increased the dividend 7%. You look at the banks, you look at other insurance companies, most of them have a dividend and a buyback program. Now, I'm not saying that Lemonade should here, but in the future, the way that this is set up would certainly hinder what type of capital allocation program they would be able to do.
I think it's a $3 billion company. It's freaking insurance. Unless this is a 10x, I feel like you shouldn't waste energy over it. I mean, like, what do you get out of debating these guys? Like, you're not buying it or shorting it. So,
Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
yeah, I would say give it a year. I mean, maybe Lemonade outperforms. I mean, look, I will say it's a $3 billion company. So I don't think it's going to take a ton for this thing to move like crazy. But
I mean, I was just going to go on and drink an iced tea.
I think what's pissing you off more is that all of them responded to your article within 5 minutes, and you know they didn't read the article within 5 minutes.
Yeah, that's a little annoying because I start getting tagged in less than 5 minutes, and it's like, come on. And in 2022, when Amazon put up an incredible quarter, and within 30 seconds, it's down like 5%. And I wrote an article bashing the analyst community and bashing freaking high trading frequency because the earnings call hadn't even happened. There is a 0% chance anybody was able to read through the numbers because it was instantaneous. And if memory serves me correctly, the prior quarter, Amazon gave a range of what they're going to generate in revenue and what they're going to generate in EPS. They came in the middle of the range that they guided for, but it was a miss because the analyst community wanted something different. And it's just people freaking just look at a headline. They trade off of the headline without looking at the substance. And it really annoys me.
Yeah, I think let it play out. I mean, getting into a debate, you're not going to change their mind. They're not going to change yours. So kind of just let it play out. But
yeah, but I want to drink a nice tea.
I mean, dude, if you want to have a debate with them on my channel, I'd be happy to host it if you really want to do it. But I don't know if it's worth getting that deep into.
I don't know if it's worth it either. I think it's bullshit that they decided to say that I was incorrect on things without even actually reading the article. And look, if I'm incorrect on things, I will more than happily say I'm incorrect. Okay, if Tesla ends up going to 500. Obviously, I'm going to be incorrect. There's no question about that. But I'm willing to say I'm incorrect on things. But don't tell me that I am incorrect and I'm distorting things when I am taking it directly from their website. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel you.
And I showed you, what would you like me to do? What would you like me to do? There are people walking. Fuck you. Like, these people think that I won't get out of my car.
Oh my goodness.
So they're beeping because the pedestrians had a right of way to walk, and there's 10 pedestrians walking in front of my car to go legitimately 8 feet because traffic is backed up on the side street.
I just want to say I never want to piss you off. I don't ever want to see angry Steve. I mean, that's a different type of Steve, dude.
New York drivers are obnoxious.
Wait, so you were letting someone walk and they got mad that you stopped?
So I was on one of the major roads, and I was pulling onto a side street, one of the side streets in New York, and the pedestrians had the right of way. There was 10 of them, and this jackass is beeping at me like he wants me to run over 10 people and go to jail for the rest of my life. Like, I'm not running people over. I don't know why they're beeping.
So he got mad because he had to stop behind you because you're letting the passengers walk, basically.
He was trying to turn from the opposite direction, and I was blocking the box because there was a crossway where the pedestrians had the right of way, and they were walking in front of my car.
Yeah, I think it's better to not run over pedestrians.
I would think preserving human life is the right answer. Just saying. It's like, my thing is, with this person that just run these people over, like, good thing I was there. I don't get it. I don't get New York drivers. I really don't.
All right, can we talk about Nvidia? $4 trillion. I mean, this has got to be one of the best stories this year.
4 trillion going to 5 trillion?
4 trillion going. All right, give me a target. 200 when? When do we see 200?
What? So is 200 5 trillion? What's 5 trillion?
So they need 800 billion in market cap to get to 5. So they have 25 billion shares outstanding. So what's 800 divided by 25? They need to go up by 32 bucks. Yeah, 200 is basically 202. It's 5 trillion.
We could see it this year.
You think so? You actually think?
You got 2 more earnings calls this year. You got an earnings call in August, and you got one in either November or beginning December.
I mean, dude.
You got 2 earnings calls this year. This thing's got 2 more chances of freaking blowing out estimates. And then with the China demands coming, think about this. Think about this. The $5 billion write-down that they took, that may get reversed and become straight net income.
No, I feel like it will. And maybe not this quarter, but next quarter for sure.
Right. And if that happens, you could see $5 billion this year.
5 trillion. Yeah.
5 trillion. That'll be something that's never happened before. Adding that much market cap in a year.
Yeah, dude, this was 3 trillion. When was it 3 trillion? 123. So when did we get to 123? Last time we got to 123. Okay, so we were at 90. We were at 85 on April 3rd. We got to 123 on exactly May 12th. So May 12th to July, May, June, July, basically 2 months. 2 months for $1 trillion in market cap.
Did you watch What Are Your Thoughts last night?
Yes, I actually played a clip of Josh Brown talking about when to sell Nvidia.
Did you? So you saw? I tried calling you. I did. I was going to call you, but I remembered you had something last night, so I didn't want to bother you. And I didn't text you, but I was going to text you and say you got to listen to the first segment and look at the chart that he put out with all the drawdowns.
We listened to a little bit of it in the open. Let me pull up the chart that they showed.
I mean, it's pretty freaking impressive.
Let's see. Oh, this one? Yeah. You guys see this? Market cap billions versus the Nvidia's entire staple sector, energy, utilities, and materials.
Well, yeah.
Oh, here's another one. Oh, I see it.
Too, but
I see it.
The one with the drawdowns.
Okay, so 2015 fell 25%. 2016 fell 20%. 2018, 56, 2019, 37, 2020, 24, 2022, 66. And then all throughout 2023, it had multiple 20% drawdowns. Then 2024 had 36% drawdown. And then 2025, 50% because of DeepSeek. And now it's back.
So Bagnick was saying NVIDIA always has a big drawdown. And technically, it always does have a big drawdown. But think about this. After this run, let's say it keeps going and it goes to 200, and then it has a big drawdown and comes down to 160 from 200, right? People are going to act like it's freaking cheap, but right now they're acting like it's expensive.
Okay, let's talk about what we were talking about yesterday. So to set this up, you guys were all on the Sunday's Future show, or at least a lot of you. For those that weren't, if you pull up the clip, literally the day futures were tanking to 4,800 on the S&P, it was Steve, Chris, and I, and Steve was saying, this is the bottom. He just flat out said, this is the bottom. He ended up being right about that. Now we're at 6,200. Steve, you want to set up what you were saying yesterday, that in a couple of years, we might be above 6,200. And then if we do have a drawdown, people would be saying right now is cheap.
So people right now are saying it's expensive, technology's getting stretched, et cetera, et cetera. I'm saying we could be at 6,500 by the end of the summer, and we could be 68 to 7,200 by the end of the year. I think that we could hit 7,000. I'm saying 68 to 72 is a range, but the midpoint obviously would be 7,000. I said that before the year started. I'm going to stand by it. I think a lot of things have cleared up. I think legislation that's got passed is bullish. But my bigger thing is, right now there's a whole segment of people who thinks it's expensive and are sitting on the sidelines. Now, let's say we go to 7,000, and then let's say hypothetically next year we go to 7,600, 7,800, or 8,000. Pick your poison.
Yeah.
And then in 2027 we have a recession. And we have a big drawdown, 20-25%. You go back down to 6,100 or so. People are going to be acting like everything is a screaming sale because we just had a huge drawdown from 8,000 to 6,100. But today, they're not willing to pay those prices because they think everything's expensive.
Right.
But because we hit much bigger highs, they're going to think that it's going to go back up instead of being invested and collecting the dividends and reinvesting them and then just being in it and not trying to time the market.
So your argument is eventually we'll have a drawdown, but if it happens 2 years from now, right back to these levels, just like April, we had a drawdown of levels we hadn't seen in 2 freaking years. You're saying that the people that will be buying on that dip will say it's a dip that you should buy, when in reality right now, that is the same price.
It's, yeah, and you don't get, and look, if you're investing in ETFs or something like that, you're not going to get the benefit of the next 6 or 7 quarters getting that dividend and reinvesting it. So it's just, I don't know. I think people that try to time the market, unless you're a professional, unless you have a very good track record, I don't think it's worth doing it. And people who are worried about where the S&P is, I wouldn't want to try to time it, and I don't try to time it. I leave my money in S&P. I keep adding to it, and regardless if there's dips, regardless if it's up or sideways, I keep adding. Every 3 months, I get a new dividend that gets reinvested, and I know that in the future, whatever dips there are, I'll still be buying on dips. Every dip is going to get bought, and eventually the market will be higher. And it's just crazy that people would rather wait for the market to go up and then come back down to buy. It just doesn't make sense.
Did you keep up with any of the roller coaster stuff this morning between Mr. Powell being fired at all?
I have zero idea of anything that happened today.
Well, the funny thing is, you know, you look at the market in the morning, look at the end of the day, nothing changed. But in the middle, reports were that Trump was going to legit fire Jay Powell. They ask him about it when he's having some meeting, and he says, well, I thought about it, but it's highly unlikely that I'm not going to do it. And so
unlikely that he's not
going to do it. So we were dumping, if you want to call.
So that means that he's going to do it.
No, I mean, look, so we dumped 0.5% on the S&P, if you want to call that a dump, on the rumors that we were going to do it.
What you just said, highly unlikely that he is not going to do it.
Okay, highly
that means
unlikely.
He's going to do it.
Okay. All right, Mr. Semantics, highly unlikely that he was going to do it.
Okay, so then that's different.
You got what I was saying, bro. You're just trying to be funny here. That's like, you're literally just trying to be.
I'm very serious. If you say highly unlikely that you're not going to do it, that means you're going to do it.
Okay, highly unlikely. You know, it's funny. I was just telling everybody I got paid lots of money to coach people how to speak, and like I can't speak at all, which is hilarious. But
you're losing your edge.
I'm losing it. But no, so he said he's highly unlikely to fire him, and then the market just pumped. Like it's almost it was a literal roller coaster. We were going down. He confirmed that he went to Republican lawmakers yesterday and asked them their opinion of firing him, but then he concluded that he ultimately was highly unlikely to do it. And the markets went up. So I guess the question here is, do you think at this point the market just does not care about the political hoopla?
I think the market is like, you know what? If we got to wait 6 months for this guy to be gone, it's better than creating instability with setting a precedent of firing a Fed chair.
AKA, the markets were too resilient to care.
It seems like nothing can destroy the market at this point.
Yeah, I mean, like, I think resilience is the word of the year for this market, right?
It sounds stupid, but look at bank earnings. They're good.
Look at what? Oh, bank
Bank
earnings. Yeah, they crushed.
They're good. And then you look at what tech's going to do. I think it's going to crush. And you look at what Gene Munster said yesterday. I got to agree with him. We're probably only 20% of the way through the build out on AI, and this cycle is going to last a lot longer than what people think.
Well, you think it's 50%, or why do?
I think it's 20%. I think he's right.
Oh, I thought you said you don't agree with him. Okay, gotcha.
No, I do. So I think he's right. And when you think about it, if we're only 20% there, and this build out's been happening since really 2023, when you had your ChatGPT moment, what does that mean? That we're going to keep doing this to 2031, 2032?
Okay, so a bunch of comments right here are saying this is a totally toppy convo. What's your response to that?
There are stocks that are very toppy right now, but it's not the Mag 7. Palantir is very toppy. Robinhood is toppy. I mean, I know people aren't going to like that I said that. And the one thing I'll give Robinhood over Palantir at the moment is they can still take so much market share from the legacy incumbents that the valuation may actually have a much better argument than Palantir's. And I am not an investor in Robinhood, and I'm happy to say that because I think they really can siphon off of everybody else dramatically over the next couple of years. So I think that's very interesting. But there's stuff like Palantir that make no sense whatsoever. So I don't know.
So, okay, so you think there's parts of the market that are toppy, but when someone says, hey, like we are legitimately reaching a top, that means like the whole market is going to not crash, but come down significantly. You don't agree with that statement?
Alphabet trading at 15 times or 16 times earnings is not top.
Yeah, I agree.
Look at the Mag 7. Tell me where I'm driving. Tell me where Meta's trading. Meta's trading at what, like 22 times forward earnings?
Yeah, let me
You're telling me that that's a top? Like, don't tell me that it's a top when Walmart and freaking Costco have higher forward valuations than the largest tech companies that are going to put up the most earnings growth.
Yeah, Meta's trading at 24 times. Google's trading at 18 times. The only one in the Mag 7 that's obviously aggressively valued is Tesla. But
and they're trading at that times what year? This year or next year?
2026.
Okay, so next year's earnings. I mean,
yeah.
Look at where freaking Amazon's trading. Where's Amazon at? 23, 24?
I think it's exactly, let me check. Amazon 2026 is at, no, 31.
Is it 31?
Yeah. Google is the one that's a bit lower. Let me check Microsoft.
I thought Amazon was a little lower.
No, December 2026, forward earnings 31. Microsoft, I think that's also in the 30s.
That's maybe like 36.
That's at 33, which is not crazy. And then Tesla.
No, for Microsoft's growth, absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Azure's going 35%. That is not crazy.
Yeah.
So again, I'm happy we're doing this because, like, why is that toppy, right?
It's not toppy because you have the biggest companies in the world expanding their earnings tremendously. That's the thing. They're all expanding their earnings.
Yeah. So, like, obviously Tesla's expensive, but if Tesla can really grow into it because of their potential, then you can justify paying at these levels. Meta, Amazon, Google, they are not expensive. Microsoft, they have massive balance sheets. They can buy back their stock. I think when people say it's toppy, it's the feeling that, like, I'm up 108% in 2 months on Rocket Lab. That, to me personally, feels toppy. I do not expect that.
Something like freaking Rocket Lab, or there was another stock I was looking at. So SMR, the nuclear,
yes,
the nuclear company.
Yeah.
They generate $5 million in revenue, and it's an $11 billion company.
Okay, so here's my point. Those feel toppy when you just look at the raw numbers. Yes. Rocket Lab trading at almost 50.
Those feel toppy, but the overall market does not feel toppy.
Exactly, and we got to remember why they're like Rocket Lab's getting a multiple based on Elon having his rift with Trump and the DoD or the market perceiving the DoD to diversify their vendors, and that's why Rocket Lab's getting a bid. On top of that, space as a thematic is getting a massive bid, and then for SMR, Trump's unleashing nuclear energy. Right. So it's like it like you don't have to buy into those narratives, but the fact is those are narratives. In 2021, there was bullshit NFT Web3 narratives.
Yeah, I mean, the question is, are you willing to pay this valuation for the potential of their earnings in the future? I think SMR has run way too much because you don't know how long it's going to take for them to build out these small nuclear reactors and deploy them and generate enough earnings. Like the valuation is crazy to that.
But what you can't deny, even if you don't agree with the valuation, is that there is going to be so much demand for energy.
Yes. Oh, the demand for energy. I mean, I'm Captain Energy when it comes to demand for energy. I've been saying this since 2020 when the freaking pandemic rocked energy stocks.
And so
I've been saying the EIA reports about how everybody who thinks we're going to leave oil and gas for the next 10 years does not understand what they're talking about.
So that's what I think the market is perceiving as well. It's like there's going to be a ton of demand for energy with AI. Some of these companies that have not justified an $11 billion valuation will have so much demand that we're pulling forward that growth. Now, maybe they're going to be wrong about that, but you can't say that narrative is toppy. You can say that you hate that narrative and it feels toppy, But if the growth isn't there, the stock will collapse. If the growth is there,
there are pockets that are topping, but there is a large section of the market. When you think about how big, if you were to look at the market cap of the S&P, which I do not know what it is, but if you add up the market cap of the entire S&P and you look at the Mag 7 ex Tesla, their market caps are probably the same size as the next like 500 companies, and they don't look topping.
No, not at all.
The market's very disproportionate.
Dude,
and I think that that's a problem.
Dude, the market cap of the S&P is 52 trillion.
52 trillion.
And Nvidia's 4.2 of that.
Right.
So again,
right. That's 8% of the market right there.
Yeah.
Just Nvidia. And then you look at Apple, Microsoft, Meta. I mean, there's a good chance those companies are 30% of the market right there.
Yeah, and look, I also agree with you that it feels toppy, which is why I'm not chasing a lot. Like these ETH treasuries, like I don't know if they're toppy or not, but I'm not chasing it because I just don't want to, take the risk. And that's part of the market that could get burned or it could make people millionaires overnight. But the point is that is not the stock market. The stock market is Nvidia and Microsoft and Meta. Yeah. Those are pockets of the market that go up or down. It has zero impact on Nvidia.
Oh, I just made a new buy.
Oh, okay. Let's hear the announcement. What did you buy?
Yeah, I just made a new buy. It is something I've talked about in the past.
Is it Salesforce?
I'm officially a shareholder of Salesforce.
Okay, there we go. 257 on Salesforce.
Yeah, I think I got just under 257.
I feel like you could have bought Palantir at 150 instead, but
no way.
Dude, I'm just saying, ever since you mentioned Salesforce, it's okay, but Palantir is making new highs. I mean,
I know, but I don't think it's going to continue to happen.
Look, Palantir's valuation, very, very expensive. Salesforce, dirt cheap compared to their earnings. The question is, again, this is what I said to you last week, is like, is there an AI narrative that Palantir simply is getting over Salesforce? And could that be the reason?
Well, obviously that's the answer, but I think over the next 2 quarters, they're going to really highlight their agent force. And I think when you have Dreamforce coming up in September, and that's going to help change the narrative on Salesforce and what they're doing in AI, because it's going to be all over CNBC, because Kramer's going to be reporting live from it, other people will be reporting live from it. So I think that was a good time to buy.
Yeah, but I don't think the media reporting that shit, man, they need to put up growth, Steve. Like we need to actually see more than 7% revenue growth for the street to get excited about it.
It's harder to put up growth when you're a much bigger company.
But I thought AI is this massive opportunity.
But you have to look at it as an aggregate number. 10% growth for Salesforce on the top line is more revenue growth than what Palantir generates in a year on the revenue.
Yeah, but the street pays a premium on the rate of growth, not the absolute dollars.
I get that, but that's why it looks like Salesforce is massively undervalued here.
I mean, I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying if Mark Benioff goes on Kramer and says Agent Force is amazing, he's done that for the past 2 years. I don't think that's enough.
You're paying 11 times free cash flow right now for Salesforce.
It's cheap. I'm not going to say it's expensive at all.
They're cheap. They're buying back $8 billion a year in shares, I believe. They just implemented a dividend, and their cash from operations is still having a huge growth spurt.
So let me give you a comparison. Let me give you a comparison that you know very well. The reason I'm saying they need actual growth is because another stock looked dirt cheap but did nothing for a couple of years until they showed the growth, and that stock,
IBM,
Oracle. Oracle put up big daddy numbers to get this multiple. Salesforce is not putting that up.
Also. Look at IBM. IBM was written off as a dead company for years. And they finally got, I'm telling you, the rest of 2025 and 2026 is going to be very good for Cisco and Salesforce.
It is cheap. I absolutely, it is cheap. I agree with that.
It's a value play with growth.
Okay, can we talk about Apple? Why did you not like their MP investment yesterday?
Oh my God, it's hard. I mean, it's not horrible if that's all they're going to do. It's horrible. It's a smart move because they're securing materials, but that can't be the only type of investment you make. Go buy Anthropic or Perplexity, please, for the love of God.
Do you think? Have you sold your Apple yet or no?
No, not yet. I'm getting closer.
You're actually getting. You told me a month ago you were going to sell. So
I'm getting. It's hard to bring myself to do it, but I'm getting closer. And I think the rationale of why I would be okay selling is because I still own a lot of it indirectly through ETFs and mutual funds, so I still have exposure to it.
But before we keep talking about Apple, real quick, Apple reminded me of our stock draft challenge. So Matt is up 17%. Tanner's up 10.7. I'm up 6.9. You're up 2.19, and Chris is down 0.73.
Okay.
So it's Matt, Tanner, Amit, Steve, and Chris. Your biggest winners are MicroStrategy and Broadcom. Your biggest loser so far is Hims, and outside of that, you don't really have a loser besides Hims.
Yeah, the one thing I took a flyer on.
Yeah, pretty much.
Look, Apple, I'm not happy with management, and I haven't been happy with management for a little bit. They have so much cash; they don't even need to stop the buybacks. They just need to take $50 billion in cash from the balance sheet and deploy it.
Okay, if you were the CEO, what would you?
Doesn't hurt anything.
If you were Tim Cook, what would you do with the $50 billion in cash right now?
Oh, if I was Tim Cook, I would freaking resign as CEO, and I would put myself back as COO and put somebody else in the CEO.
Would you actually do that, or you're just messing around?
Yeah, no, I would do that.
I don't. But who replaces Tim Cook? Who's out there that could be a product visionary?
Mark Zuckerberg.
Okay, Steve, stop. Come on. Like, that was a fun theory 2 weeks ago, but that's like, be realistic.
No, Zuck should buy Apple.
Zucks is not buying Apple, bro. He can buy all these OpenAI researchers. He's not going to buy Apple.
He should just buy Apple.
It would be
He should
funny
go
if
to
he bought
Jamie
Apple.
Dimon. He should go to Jamie Dimon. Say, hey, I want to buy Apple. Let's buy Apple. That's what he should do.
Could you imagine that conversation?
And then he won't have to worry about building a headset because he'll actually own the infrastructure and he'll save the 30% on Zaps.
Oh, I don't think he's worried about the infrastructure of building a headset, because even Apple can't build a freaking headset, to be honest.
But I mean, he should buy Apple. But in all seriousness, I don't know who should replace him. But Tim Cook needs to deploy capital. Apple has a tremendous amount of cash on the balance sheet. They do $100 billion plus in free cash flow. There is nothing wrong with scaling back buybacks to $50 billion a year. Take $30 billion a year of the free cash flow that they were allocated to buybacks, and go buy companies. Split it between AI and content.
So I think they're afraid to do that because then they have to show real growth. They can't just show this financially engineered EPS growth. And if they can't get the growth from buying Perplexity, they're screwed.
Yeah, but what's the alternative? They fall behind so much that people leave the Apple ecosystem.
No, I agree. I mean, there is not a good alternative.
There is no alternative because at some point people will buy Android over Apple.
Well, I will never leave, but yes, some people might.
No, but you say that, but if Alphabet's assistant gets so good that it makes your life easier, that there's so much value in that, where it doesn't make sense to stay with Apple, you would leave.
No, I don't think I'm leaving. I mean, it would have to be really good experiences in Android, bro, for me to leave Apple. Like, that's just, I'm not, I think I'll be with Apple for the rest of my life.
No, but it's about time. So if you can say to the Android assistant, hey, I need to fly to LAX, I want to fly Delta, I want to be in the first 3 rows, and I want an aisle seat, I want to pay between, hypothetically, $400 and $700 for a round trip. I need to leave on Thursday morning between 8 and 10, and come back on Saturday between 9 and 10, and I want to leave and come up from Newark. And it does everything for you?
No,
just as an example,
I'm not leaving, dude. Like, I will wait until ChatGPT figures out how to do that for me on my iPhone. I'm not leaving, dude.
Come on.
I guarantee you're not leaving either, bro. You say you're not leaving.
If the Alphabet assistant does so much that it makes a value proposition for me, with all the stuff I do on my phone, I would absolutely leave.
Would you buy Meta right here at 704?
Yes.
You're not afraid that he's spending too much money on engineers?
No, it's the same thing I said when everybody was freaking about the metaverse. He's earned the right to do it. He has earned the right to do whatever he wants. Because you know what? He's a winner, and you look at the growth of free cash flow, and you look at the growth of revenue, and you look at what he's built, he has a better vision than everybody else. Let him come. Let him do what he does.
That's fair. Let him cook.
I mean, he hasn't let shareholders down yet.
It's up 8x since the lows. He has not let shareholders down yet.
I mean, I was pounding the table when it was 95, and I was saying this is the opportunity everybody's been waiting for. The next opportunity is going to be when he does a share split. Even though it doesn't change the value of the market cap, it's going to change the perception. If he does a 10-for-1 split and this became $71 a share.
Oh my gosh,
tomorrow,
bro. I would.
The amount of buying that you would see because it's been over 500 for so long that people have not been buying. You see it at 71. That's going up 30% in a couple of weeks because of the amount of demand for the shares.
I would buy 200 shares that day. That day. Easy. And I because like it's hard to have $140,000 to buy 200 shares. It's not as hard to have 14,000. Like
much different scenario.
Much different. Like I am hoping that he and Netflix just split the damn stock this quarter. Because I would love to own Netflix too. Like with 1,300.
Split the shares in the past, I believe. I think Meta's the only one that hasn't right now.
Yeah, no, you're right. And again, the reason we're saying 100 shares is because you could write covered calls on 100 shares. That's
right. And it's just Meta's going to 1,000 if he doesn't split the shares, and it's going to keep going up. It's one of the best companies you can invest in.
Yeah, I do not disagree.
Apple is, I'm sorry, I was a very big Apple bull. I'm getting really, really worried. Really.
Is there any other stock catching your attention in this market right now, or just more Nvidia?
No, I mean, Salesforce as a value play, but I mean, Nvidia and Meta, I mean, this is a market where, except Palantir, like I wouldn't say Palantir, let your winners fly. I mean, obviously it keeps going up, and no stock has ever sustained the meteoric rise. At some point, you're going to get a drawdown out. At some point, it's going to happen.
Yeah, but Steve, if the drawdown is 110 to 120, I mean, that'll suck, but that's not 50 or 60.
At some point, you're going to get a drawdown. What that drawdown is, couldn't tell you. All I can tell you is it's not going to 250 without a drawdown.
Okay, but would you buy? Let's say it draws down to 115. Are you buying?
No.
So then, but that's not a drawdown. Is when bulls are supposed to buy the dip. What price are you hoping to get?
But I'm not a bull anymore.
What do you mean you're not bullish Palantir anymore?
I'm neutral. I've been neutral the past couple of quarters.
So I'm asking, what price target makes you bullish?
Probably 65.
Okay, so now you're asking for a basically 70% correction from here.
I'm not asking for anything. You asked what price I would get bullish.
Well, I'm saying dude, it could happen. I just think like that level of aggression on the drawdown, independent of the market falling, I think it's asking for a bit much.
All right, so I'll change the word. I think you're going to get a retracement before it keeps going through.
Hey, it doesn't matter what word you use. The point is you're saying they should fall 70% from here. And I don't agree with that.
I'm not saying they should. I'm just saying that you're going to see a retracement or a drawdown before it gets to 200 and 250.
Maybe,
this is not,
maybe not.
This is not getting to $500 billion without having a drawdown.
Look,
because if this if Palantir goes to $500 billion next year, if it go, what would that need to be? It would need to be like
250,
260, 250
to
get to $500 billion. That's not happening.
Okay, but Steve, I don't disagree with you, but did you think 350 billion was going to happen?
No, it's one of the stupidest valuations I've ever. This is Cisco at 99.
Okay, I think you're being disrespectful here. I don't disagree that it's expensive, but I'm not saying it's Cisco 99.
In 99, Cisco did 12.1 billion. No, I'm sorry, 12.9 billion in revenue and 2.1 billion in net income. Okay, and that was in 99 when 2.1 billion in net income was unheard of. And what happened?
Yeah, but Palantir is not Cisco. You cannot use these archaic examples.
It's not like, archaic examples. It's the same growth factor.
Steve, there was no Robinhood. There was no mass liquidity from retail investors back then. Like, there's a totally different market we have here.
Exactly. Cisco was the unicorn. It was an even bigger story.
Well,
look, the unicorn.
I get it. My point is that this is a software unicorn, not just a unicorn that's building out infrastructure. Number two, there's way more money in the markets in 2025 than there was in 1990. And there's way more narratives and stories that people trade on.
Way less companies to invest in.
That's another point.
Cisco was a magnet for capital. All I'm saying is great companies have gone way ahead of themselves, and it's taken a very long time to get back to it. Maybe Palantir doesn't fall. Maybe it keeps going up. Based on the numbers, it doesn't make sense here. But I certainly wouldn't be buying here. I think there's much better buys. I think Nvidia is the play. Meta is the play. Broadcom is the play. Those are the three. And Microsoft. I mean, Microsoft's the only one I don't know, and I would start buying that here.
The one thing I don't disagree that the numbers are expensive here. The one thing I think we all are underestimating is, and I saw this quote somewhere, is just like how much a good company can grow when they begin to grow. I think Robinhood showed everyone a lot of that this year. Like when it's time to grow, when you're in the growth stage, obviously Nvidia showed that you can really grow it. Palantir just put up 39%. If they keep up 40%, get to 50% by next year, I mean, they only have 800 customers, Steve, less than 800.
I get that.
It makes you think, yeah, even if they put up 55% growth, the multiple would still be aggressive. But the point is, what other companies in software are growing that much and can sustain that growth with the operating margins they have? That's the thesis. That's why people buy in.
Well, we're going to find out if they can sustain it or not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's an unknown.
I'll
tell you what company can sustain the multiples of Nvidia.
I don't have any disagreement with Nvidia at this point being able to sustain these multiples. Do you think this is a 5-year story for Nvidia, a 2-year story, a 10-year? Like, how long do you think they keep growing at above 30%?
You know how I said that Amazon could be the first $10 trillion company?
Yeah.
We may have to kick that out and say Nvidia is going to be a $10 trillion company. And how about 10 trillion by 2030?
10 trillion by 2030?
Or maybe even 2029.
So that's what, a 4x? No, 3x?
I mean,
2.5x?
if this build out keeps happening like this and we keep growing, I mean, at these rates, yeah.
Also, Nvidia, unlike Tesla, is buying back their stock. So,
yeah, they're buying back almost as much stock as Tesla generates in revenue.
Correct. So
which is ridiculous.
There will be a bid on this stock if it does, take a big hit. All right. I think that's it for today. Are you still in the car or are you at home now?
Yes, I'm still in the car.
Okay. I'm happy we all got to experience your road rage together.
No, they don't beat him for no reason.
Dude, by the way, remember that higher GIF that I told you about?
Yes.
I've been using it and it's hilarious.
Why?
Because let me see if I can find it on Twitter. Someone asked me, what do I think Hood's price target is by 2030? And I used it. And it's legit. It's legit great. Yeah, look, price prediction by 2030. Look at this. You can't see this, but higher. All right, Steve. I think that's it for us today. I'm going to leave Steve's Twitter and Seeking Alpha in the chat. And you guys can follow him on those platforms. And we'll probably talk to him again on Friday. Later this week.
You want to do Friday?
Yeah, probably Friday. Tomorrow's Thursday, right? Dude, the week's almost over. I mean, it's moving fast, but...
Oh, yeah, we could do Friday.
Yeah. All right, Steve.
Maybe we'll get some. Remember, maybe we'll get some lemonade people on.
All right. Appreciate you, Steve. There's his Twitter. I'll talk to you later. Later. Dude, Steve was about to freaking get out of his car for that dude that was honking at him. All right, folks. There you go. That's what we got from Mr. Steve today. Again, wild day, dude. We hit Rocket Lab 48 after hours. I mean, just an incredible freaking day. Hoodie touched 104, Rocket Lab 47.94, Bitcoin trying to get back to 120, Ethereum 34, Hundo, Palantir 151. Earnings growth across Kinder Morgan and United was strong. I mean, ASML was the only one that was kind of based on their guidance. So I guess we'll try to learn more about that. I think Joseph Carlson already did a video on it, so you guys can check out his content to get a deeper understanding of it. Couch Investor apparently did a video on Open Door. I will take a look at that later today and try to see what his Open Door thesis is. And yeah, I think that is pretty much it. The big earnings this week that are left are TSM and Netflix. TSM will actually get in the middle of the night today for the East Coast. So I think around 2-3 a.m. we should get TSM earnings. And yeah, then we get Netflix after hours on. Oh no, Netflix is tomorrow. TSM and Netflix tomorrow. TSM in the morning, Netflix in the afternoon. And we're starting tech earnings. And the next week we got Tesla and Google. And we keep going from there. So there we go. Oh, I got to show you guys that final thing. I told you guys I would show you that TikToker Hub's Life that was like begging for super chats. Let me see if I can find it. It was, I showed you guys in the morning, or I showed you guys. Yeah, here it is. Here it is. Okay, here's the TikTok. So again, this is some context. This is a guy. Do you guys know this guy on Instagram, bro? He got popular by freaking working a 9-to-5 and just documenting his 9-to-5 life. So like he made these viral videos of what it's like to be a 9-to-5 employee, and he, like millions and millions and millions of views, because like 60 million views, 30 million views, because people resonated, because most people have a 9-to-5 job. And his whole idea was, hey, it's okay to work a 9-to-5, come home, eat some food, watch some TV. Like it's a normal thing to do. He never actually spoke in these videos. And the reason people are upset is because he left his 9-to-5. Now he's a content creator and he's going down the entrepreneur path. And well, when you become a content creator, like in a legit way and actually have to talk to your audience, you need to have a personality. You can't just show your day-to-day life, right? You have to actually like speak, even if you don't know how to speak, like myself. And, you have to communicate with people. And so he did his first live stream, and this is ultimately what happened.
Galaxy, bro. I gotta get a Galaxy, guys. If I send me something, man. That's how I make it a living. I don't know if I saw a Galaxy come through, man. I can't answer any of these. You gotta send me a Galaxy, bro. Sam, thank you for the first gift. Roses on deck. I don't know. I think roses are like not a Galaxy. I want to answer all these questions, but I really can't right now. Sam, where's the Galaxy, bro? I'll answer like 10 questions if you send a Galaxy. You gotta send me a Galaxy or something. This is a lot more lucrative, and I get to work from anywhere in the world. Make money from my telephone. Have any investments other than 401k? You got to send me a Galaxy, and I'll answer that. That's the internet for you, though. No one wants to see you doing better than them, right? I'm just a regular chill dude.
And honestly,
Dude, I mean, this controversy, it's obviously got my attention because I'm a content creator, and I follow this guy. Like, I like his videos too. His videos went viral. I followed his videos. And I'll play one of his videos while I'm talking right here. But like when I saw this blow up, I just like, I couldn't believe it, because I was like, it is unfathomable to me how you could have the privilege of having people's attention by being a content creator, which is, first of all, very hard work to be able to even get that attention and then sustain that attention. And then like the first time you actually interact with your audience by talking to them, you will not answer a question unless they give you a Galaxy, which is like a $20 super chat on TikTok. The dude was like, hey, do you have any investments outside of your 401k? He's like, I can't answer that without a Galaxy. I mean, like, it's just one of those things, bro, where this is a type of career that's not easy to achieve. And it looks easy, but there's a lot of work that goes behind it. Once you achieve it, to take advantage of an audience or to not value it, by being a fucking brat, to be honest, and asking for money from people, when in reality you should be happy they're even willing to listen to you while you're live and playing your guitar. I mean, like, they could be watching Netflix, they could be consuming anything else on the planet. You're competing with the media industrial complex. They're picking you and your TikTok live, and you won't answer a question until they send you money. I mean, when the grift ain't grifting. Yeah, and it's like, this guy is not like, he was never a grifter. He was just like this content creator that ended up finding this like new niche of like 9-to-5. You don't have to be an entrepreneur. You don't need to like engage in all this hustle culture. You can just be a normal person. And he ends up becoming the thing he's critiquing, which is fine, but you can't build an audience off, hey, 9-to-5 is great. You don't need to be an entrepreneur. And then you go ahead and just betray that entire audience by saying, hey, well, now I'm an entrepreneur. You guys should be paying me super chats for me to answer your questions. It's patronizing. And then it doesn't really take it. It takes for granted the opportunity that you have to build a meaningful connection. I mean, there's a way I think he could have pivoted from being a 9-to-5 content creator to like, hey, you can go chase your dreams and hustle. It's a hard way to pivot because, again, that entire audience that followed you, they're not going out and hustling and working 24/7. Like they just like being a normal person and working a 9-to-5. That's why you resonated with them in the first place. That's why your videos were enjoyable. So to make that switch, I think is hard. But I think there's a way to do it graciously without like without dismantling the core ethos of the audience you built. But if you then act like a brat and say, hey, this is my job now, the only way I can make money is if you guys pay me super chats. I'm like, first of all, who the hell is going to want to give you a super chat? Second of all, it's not understanding that you're in this position because of the audience, not because you deserve money because you're going live. He's almost asking like, oh, they deserve to pay me because I'm live versus I deserve to be grateful for the fact that they're even wanting to watch me live. And so I was just fascinated by this whole thing. And so, you know, you guys sending a bunch of super chats today and every day, I deeply, deeply appreciate it. But I don't do this for the super chats. I do this for the fact that we get to be here every single day live as a community, and I get to build my brand. I mean, again, the number one reason I'm doing this is I get to build my brand. I don't know what that is going to look like in the future. I just know that building your brand is one of the hardest things to do. It's in a niche that I really care about, which is finance, tech, and business. And the more you build it, the greater the opportunities become. I can't even explain how many opportunities I've gotten just by being able to build this brand and being here every day. And I think part of those opportunities come because I'm so grateful that there is an audience that actually cares. But you can lose that audience really quick when you start being ungrateful for the fact that you even have an audience. So yeah, I thought I just, given some of the super chats today, I thought it triggered my memory on that because it's one of those stories that's like, I could not believe how he has pivoted his brand. And I don't know what he's going to do with this audience now, but you got a lot of people that can't really believe that's how it played out. I will unfollow you if you ever mention AG1. Dude, you guys don't even know. Let me tell you a story. Okay, I'll end this on this story. I'll end it on this story. 2 hours and 36 minutes. We're going to keep going. All right. So I got on the phone the other day with K. Roger. Thanks for the $20 super chat. Amit, here's your $20 Galaxy. Do you have any investments outside of your 401k? Dude, I need to contribute to my solo 401k. Remember, if you're an entrepreneur or you have a freaking LLC, open a solo 401k. You can contribute $70,000 to it tax-free. If you make $100,000, you're probably not going to be able to contribute $70K, but you get my point. You can write off $70K. You only pay taxes on $30K. Again, I'm not a tax professional. Consult with your lawyers and stuff and your CPA. But the point is, if you are an entrepreneur, you need a solo 401k. I should have had it back in 2018. I just opened it this year. And so I'm going to be contributing to that. But yeah, that's my equivalent of a 401k because I don't actually work at a corporation. So, okay. So there was a talent agent that reached out to me last week. Okay. There was a talent agent who reached out. I'm not going to say the name of the agency. Let's say it's an agency in LA. Monster agency. They represent like elite Hollywood talent. Okay. What does an agent do? They get you gigs, speaking engagements, podcast appearances, yada, yada, all that stuff, right? That's the business of agencies. And so he reaches out and he's like, hey, Mitt, I want to, I saw your Tom Lee interview. I just want to have a conversation. And I'm like, all right, let's have a conversation. I'm open to having a conversation. We have a conversation. And so we get into the conversation. And again, no disrespect to him or his firm. We just have a fundamental, I realized in the first 5 minutes, we have a fundamental difference in how we think of brand creation. He was like, so like, yeah, here's our firm, here's where we're from, here's all the stuff we do. And he was like, where do you want to take this in the future? And I was like, I'm moving out in August, and I really want to build a podcast. Like, I really want to build a meaningful podcast. And one of the ways you build a podcast is you need to have big guests. And I said, quite frankly, the only reason I'm taking this meeting is because I wanted to know if there's any way we could collaborate on you guys using me as distribution for your people that you represent. So if you represent like a big business person or whatever, would you want to connect them with me so they could come on my podcast and they get the distribution of my audience by getting on the podcast, right? It's a win-win for everybody. And he said, okay, cool. So the way it's going to work is we're going to sell 4 ads at this time and 6 ads, and then we're going to connect you with these different brands. And then I was like, whoa. I was like, it was so awkward, bro. I was like, I don't want to sell any ads. I was like, I don't want any ads. I don't want to read from freaking athletics or something to like, or a VPN to save 20% off or like whatever. It's like, I don't want to do that. And he was like, but how will you make money? And I was like, I'm not trying to make money. I'm trying to build a brand. And I think there will be opportunities by the pure distribution of that brand getting bigger eventually to make money. Like, imagine how annoying it would have been if there was an ad in the Tom Lee podcast. Like, no, the reason it was so enjoyable for 150,000 people is because it was outside of the right and the correct and the but it's because it was a natural conversation, right? It wasn't like, by the way, guys, before we get back to Tom Lee, you can get 20%. It's like, no, dude, that's like, it's just like, I don't have disrespect for people that do it. It's just, it naturally makes the podcast less enjoyable. And then he was just like, he was flabbergasted. He was like, but how are you going to make money? I was like, I don't want to make money off the podcast. I want to use your connections and give them my audience if it's a guest that the audience wants. And for your talent that you represent, they get an opportunity to reach my audience, right? That's like the whole, I thought, symbiotic version of this partnership theoretically. And this guy was solely focused on how can we sell as many ads as possible on your podcast. And the reason I'm bringing this up from this Hubs Life thing is because this is the business of the average content creator. They're trying to fucking sell advertising. And again, I have no problem with that business model. This YouTube video, after it's done as a video, will have ads, right? Like, not during the live stream, but after it's done as a video, there are ads. Before you jump into the stream, there's a 15-second ad. That's how these videos make money. But I think there's a difference between, okay, you spend 3 hours making the stream, and then after someone watches it, when you're done, you get paid for that work by them sitting through a 15-second ad, versus attaching the brand of Amit and reading 4 different ads throughout the course of an hour for some random companies and saying, hey guys, you need to check out these products. Use code AMIT20 to save 20%. And again, there's nothing wrong with doing that. Plenty of podcasts do that. Some of the biggest podcasts in the world do that. I personally have the stock market on my side in terms of a vehicle for income creation and trading and selling options and stuff. So it's like, I'm not desperate to get that $5,000 20% coupon code from some VPN to be able to put in the middle of a Tom Lee interview to make money. And quite frankly, if you get to the point where you're getting hundreds of thousands of views consistently on a podcast, unless you have a big team, who knows? Maybe I'll be the first podcaster to ever do this, because a lot of these guys end up doing ads, but there are some that don't go through the advertising model. I don't think I'm ever going to use ads. Why? Like, look, if I have a podcast with freaking Jensen Huang, in what world does it make sense to put an ad in the middle of that? First of all, just like the art form of the conversation is what matters to me. Like, I want that conversation to live for the rest of my life. Number two, if you got to the point in life where you're interviewing Jensen motherfreaking Huang, you should be able to figure out how to make some money without promoting a VPN in the middle of your Jensen Huang interview. Right? Like, am I totally off on this? So it's one of those things where it was just hilarious to me because the guy is so confused. He was like, well, how do you make money? I was like, why are we worried about making money? I was like, you as an agency should be worried about your talent getting more distribution, because if they get more distribution, they can get more partnerships, yada, yada, and you can make more money off them. And for me, I don't want to partner with you guys from a monetary perspective. I just want you guys to use me as a vehicle for distribution, which I'm okay with, because your talent gets the distribution and I get the content. And then boom, boom, we both win. But this guy was like, no, bro, we got to sell ads. I was like, all right, then we're done. Like, talk never, I guess. Not even talk later, talk never. You know? It's just one of those things, bro, where it was my first meeting ever with a talent agency. And I'm like, oh, I don't think I can take these meetings anymore, because all of them are going to come in with the same shitty proposal. Like this Hubs Life guy, he's selling hats, which, look, it's fine to sell a hat. Like, there's no big deal. But the point is, if the best you could do with a 1 million subscriber audience is sell a freaking hat with an H in front of it for Hubs Life, I mean, I don't really think you have an audience, bro. If that's your basis of making income, selling a freaking hat. Like, it's just like, you got to think bigger. And in finance, dude, like, here's a really easy way to monetize an audience without having to sell out ads. As my audience grows, if I could raise $5 million to do a VC fund, I don't really want to do this ever, but like, this is what JCal did, right? Essentially, JCal built a big audience back in the early 2000s covering Silicon Valley. He raised $5 million in VC funding. He turned that $5 million into like $800 million today that he manages in This Week in Startups, which is the name of his VC fund. And he's made massive connections simply because his brand grew. People knew him in Silicon Valley. And in 2008, when Travis Kalanick, the founder of Uber, said, hey, Jason, you want to put 25,000 into this little taxi company called Uber? Jason was like, here you go. And that 25,000 is worth 115 million today. Not because of a freaking advertisement, but because he knew the guy, he had a connection, and he had an audience that authentically led him to getting that connection. Like, there's so many ways to make money in this world without having to sell his freaking ad. So it's just one of those things, dude. It's a very ruthless industry when it comes to content. And I think everyone is so freaking focused on monetization, and they're not focused on building the fucking brand. If you don't have a brand, what is there to monetize? And if you do have a brand and you monetize it in a shitty way, what's the point? Like, I honestly, dude, I think the reason this is working for me is I'm thinking of it like an artist. And I know that sounds super corny. I know I talked about the albums and stuff yesterday. Like, I'm thinking of it like an artist. I'm legit thinking of this as like my legacy. And when you think of it that deeply, you start to care more about the authenticity and the integrity of the brand. And you don't want to screw it up for some ads. Like, so that was my story. That was my story. All right, that was my rant. How long was that? How long was that? That was, dude, that was like 15 minutes, bro. That was a 15-minute rant. That was my rant for today. I was going to tell you that story eventually, but I needed the right moment to. Today was the right moment. Today was the right moment to do it. Your principles and ethics will take you a long way. Yeah, and again, I don't want to make it sound like I'm saying it's unethical to sell advertising. Not at all. Graham Stephan, he has a great podcast. One of the things that annoys me about his podcast is almost every 10 minutes there's a freaking ad. And I'm like, dude, like, it just makes me not want to listen. Like, it's not enjoyable. And like, I get it. You know, if you want to make your money, you make your money. There's a capitalist society. You do what you got to do. And if the audience continues to watch, then the audience, like, it is. Like, the other thing that triggered me on this today, Caleb Hammer. You guys know Caleb Hammer? Caleb Hammer is a freaking, the financial audit guy who, like, he has millions of subscribers. I've always been so confused about this guy because who the hell is this guy to be telling people how to get their finances together? Like, this has been my beef with this guy always. And not beef as in I hate the guy or anything. I've just always been confused. Why is he the guy telling people how to get their finances together? Like, is he some multi-billionaire that knows how to get your finances? Like, I've never but these videos, look at these videos, bro. 800,000, 900,000, 1,600,000. It's crazy. And his videos go viral because he like invites people to his studio. And he looks at their freaking bank accounts and he's like, why are you spending money on this? Why are you spending money on this? I'm like, who the fuck are you? Like, how did you start becoming a guru on what people should spend money on or not? At least Dave Ramsey, he's a bit older and like you could tell he's been through life. Like, this guy's like 27. What life has he experienced to be able to tell people you should not spend XYZ per month? I'm not saying you can't do that. I'm just saying it's always confused me. And it's weird, right? And with investing, it's different because we're doing so much research on a company and we're analyzing the macro. We're trying to come to some conclusions. This guy's just like looking at someone's personal financial situation and just like berating them for an hour about like why they suck at spending money, which is great content for the masses. I was just always confused at like why he thinks he's in the position to do that. Given I don't think he's like some massive financial expert. So it's always been so weird to me when that happens. But the reason I'm bringing it up, today he went live, and I caught one of his lives. And in the freaking live, you guys got to upgrade to Ultra on Twitch. You got to become a channel member to send a chat, $20 donations and above, and then I'll say your name on a super chat. It was like that same bullshit this Hubs Life guy was doing, but in the context of his audience for the finance news. And I'm watching this. It was literally right after my market open. It just popped up on YouTube and I was doing some work and I just clicked on it in the background. I'm listening and I'm like, what, dude? This guy's 2 million subscribers. 2 million subscribers. And he's telling people, I'm not going to read your super chat unless it's $20 or above. I don't know, dude. I really think there are people that try to grift their audience and they don't feel grateful for the fact that they have an audience. Which maybe I'm too artistic in the sense of thinking of content creation. Maybe I've just wanted the ability to perform my whole life, and so I'm so grateful for the fact that I now have that ability that I don't want to ever mess with the foundation that I built. But a lot of these other people don't seem to care. They really don't seem to care. Like look, I think I know I think I am starting to understand more deeply the stock market and the macro. By no means am I the greatest investor in the world, but I think part of the reason people watch the stream since 2022 is because I'm not claiming to be the greatest investor in the world. I'm claiming to learn with you guys. I mean, I didn't even know Amazon had Project Kuiper yesterday. Like, if I don't know something, I admit it. We learn it on the spot. I make mistakes, and we try to analyze it. And hopefully, the debate communication skills make it easy to break down a lot of info in real time. And as a community, we work together. I don't think I'm in the position for someone to show me their bank account and for me to ask them some questions and be like, this is exactly the financial path you need to become sophisticated with your finances. Like, I feel like you need a lot of life experience, or you need to know a lot about the legalities of all the different loopholes that exist in the tax law and all that stuff. And I know some of them, but like not enough to talk about it with some random person that comes to my studio and asks me to analyze their bank statement. And so it's like the way he does it to me, it always felt berating to it's like he brings in a guest just to tell them they're a piece of shit. And I don't know why the guest agrees to that, because it's not like the guest is a content creator. It's not like they're like, hey, follow this guest that's a piece of shit with their finance on Twitter. It's not like they get that distribution. I don't know if he pays them to be on the show, which most shows you don't do that. So like, why do these, like, I guess they go there legitimately for the financial advice, which if the financial advice is, hey, stop spending $50 every day on Chick-fil-A, what are we talking? Like, what? I mean, okay, I get it. I guess that's how they do it. I feel the same. He's rude on purpose. Yeah, dude, I never got it. It just feels like it's just hostile to try to make content. But the point is to connect what he did on the live stream today. And again, no hate against the guy. I quite frankly don't care about. I don't watch his content. I just like, I've heard of him. His content has exploded. I've always wondered why the hell this is the guy to give people all this special advice. And then on the live stream today, he's freaking basically begging to say, if you don't upgrade to this ultra tier, you don't get to, I don't get to read your super chat. And so I'm like, okay, so on one part of his content, it's just berating people for entertainment. And on the other part of his content, it's forcing the audience to subscribe to some massive tier in order to read their name out loud. I don't think this is the most authentic way to build a real community. I just don't think that's the case. I don't. And my experience with the talent agency kind of proved that to me. I was like, damn, these guys just care about monetizing the audience as much as possible. And sometimes, you know, there's got to be a bigger thesis to be able to do that. This is like watching Stoled Cone Stunner, everyone. This is an epic rant and couldn't agree more. Like, some of you may disagree with me. It's okay. We don't have to agree on this. But and there's no hate in my heart for any of these guys that sell advertising. I'm trying to do it different. That's all. I'm trying to do it different. And I think if you do it different, you have a better chance at longevity. First and foremost, like to be a content creator for a long amount of time is not easy, dude. To constantly be there and do this for, like, it's not easy. So first of all, I'm trying to think of a long-term brand. And second of all, I'm trying to think of a way of giving the best value to the audience, because eventually that will reciprocate in some financial way. But what matters more is like the meetups, when I meet with people and like they tell me how much they enjoy the content. Like, that to me fills my heart with so much more joy than a $200 super chat could ever do. And that's kind of the different way that I'm trying to do this. Okay, is Trump saying something after hours? Is Trump saying something about India? Hold on. I'm seeing some headlines here about Trump, India. Trump says they are very close to a tariff deal with India. That is the headline. Where is this coming from? Real America's Voice interview. Okay, so it looks like he gave an interview to Real America. Trump says very close to India tariff deal. Okay, this is very good. Is the S&P, dude, it's not like we needed more good news, but I'll take it. We are a little green after hours. Where's Bitcoin? 119, Ethereum still over 3,400. I mean, the quote unquote good news today was that Trump is not actually going to fire Powell. I guess if we got this India deal, that only continues the momentum. And again, we were kind of expecting this, right? We had Indonesia. We kind of need India, the EU, Canada, Mexico. I doubt we're going to tariff these guys by 30% on August 1st. So if we can get some of these deals, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Would not be the worst in the world. All right, so there you go. That is the Trump update after hours. All right, I think we end the stream there. 3 hours. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Real Adventures, here's the super chat you asked for. Thank you for the $2. Appreciate it. Kimchi Farmer, thank you. Thanks for always keeping it real, Mitt. Thank you for the $10. Deeply, deeply appreciate it. And yeah, thank you all for being here. How is Amit still online? Dude, honestly, I love this. I love this. I mean, dude, I'm sweating. Look at this, bro. I'm freaking sweating. Part of the reason I'm sweating is because the AC is not working anymore again for the second time this week. We thought clearing out the filters on the vents would help it, but I'm also heated, bro. And honestly, I was sweating freaking after the whole J Powell roller coaster about if he's getting fired or not in the morning. I'm sweating even more right now, but yeah, I love doing this. I love being here every single day. Love building the brand. And quite frankly, it's a bull market, dude. And in a bull market, we get to change our lives. Like, it's just that simple. We get to change our lives. We get to change our lives. I mean, many of us up 40, 50% this year, even 20 to 30%. It's a lot of you guys in the triple digits. It's a life-changing market. It is a market that we need to analyze every single day to make sure it can continue to hold its momentum. There's a lot of things happening every single day. And so I'm just honored to be a messenger of this markets every single day for you guys as we analyze it. So there you go. All right, I'm out. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow on the market open, and we'll keep going from there. Thank you, everybody. Love you all. See you guys tomorrow on the market open. Bye, everybody.